It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
And a happy Monday to you. Welcome to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. My name is Stick, filling in for Ermanni and Maz. I got to carry the weight of two people today.
And 100%. Those aren't easy shoes to fill, although light with the guy in the chair over there.
That we miss Maz. I see that you put his water over there for him,
I had to put his water over there, make him feel good. You know, Maz celebrated birthday yesterday, so happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday,
man. We love you, man.
I feel like an ass. I didn't even text him.
This is the first time I haven't seen Maz on his birthday in the three and a half years we worked together. So hope you're doing well, big guy. We miss you over here.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Stick. That, of course, is Braylon Edwards. We have Detroit Kool-Aid in the sound booth. Saw you this morning out at Feldman. What do you do after Feldman? Like, what's your day like, Kool-Aid?
Starts to spring.
Well, right now I got to get back and make sure mom and baby are good. Joe.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you feeding the baby yet?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am. Yeah, and got to get in with a little bit of socials as well too.
Okay. Yeah. So Kool-Aid and I had a baby. Well, not together, but I had a baby on the third. On the second, he had a baby on the third. We had the same due dates. Both of our girls had the same due dates. So this is my first baby though, so I'm figuring out how worthless I am in these first couple of weeks. Like it's all about mom, and now that I can finally bottle feed, it's like, hey, I'm contributing.
100%.
I'm doing something to the group project, and I finally feel a part of it.
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some diapers to be changed. So
I've been doing that.
See, that's contributing. You know, you waking up so she doesn't have to. That's a part of contributing to it as well.
Yeah, you just watch her, breastfeeding the whole time, and you're just like feeling worthless. Like, oh, now what do? I just here. You want a pillow? All right, there you go.
I think it's probably tough in the beginning too because you saw the whole experience at the hospital. Yes. You saw the pains that she went through. Kool-Aid, you just went through the same thing. So I know you guys seeing that. It's like, whatever you need me to do, I'm here to do after I saw what you guys went through, Kool-Aid.
It's amazing what women put their body through. Like, I gained a whole new respect. Not that I didn't have respect for women, but now it's like, oh man, my mom did this for me. That woman,
it changes
things. It makes you love your mom even more.
Great creation, man. Women, man, 100%.
The infamous Pete Spivak is in the TD booth today.
What's up, boys?
How you feeling, Pete?
Happy Monday. Doing well. Just trying to get used to everything over here, as you know what I mean.
Some adjustments in the TD booth.
It's always those adjustments we make. Stick, you came on the show and you said, my name is Stick, introducing yourself.
Yep.
But you're downplaying yourself. Stick is an individual that is part of the reason why we even do Woodward Sports Network. And about 4 or 5 years ago, he and two others had a dream. Here we are, Woodward Sports Network, and we're rocking and rolling in year 4. So don't downplay yourself, Stick. I had to get that love because it's well-deserved.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. And this is what it's about. The Lions rewarded us this season. And
I'm even wearing Lion stuff now.
Off-season Lion stuff, too. It used to be okay, Brandon, during the season.
100%.
Like, but why? And then you'd always get the questions like, why are you wearing that?
I take a lot of hits from my Jets fans. Let's just say that. But, it is what it is. I'm a Detroit at heart, so I have nothing to apologize for.
Yeah, speaking of Detroit, I called the PSL championship games yesterday. Shout out to Cass Tech, back-to-back champions.
And Cass King, you always hear those names. Like, you never hear anybody else, and that's also because it's not that many schools left.
Yeah, Renaissance had a chance. And, and to your point, they honored Cooley High, like their 88 team during halftime, and that school doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't.
But it was cool to see all those guys come back, and the coach of King played on that Cooley team as well. So
there's always a political angle.
Yeah, it was a good time. Jay Alexander does a great job with the PSL, and he's the athletic director down there, and they do such a fun job, man. Wayne State was packed. It was sold out last night for Renaissance versus Cass.
And they just have some great basketball. I mean, they still do. Obviously, last night was another one of them, but I remember back in the day, Wayne State, man, I used to see the Renaissance versus King women's basketball were really good. You're talking about Stephanie Douglas, who went to Michigan, Alina Lewis, who won Miss Basketball. I went to King, so a little partial, but there's always been great games in Wayne State. Wayne State seems to be at the forefront, kind of like even the football stadium with the preseason, like the first game of the season that they do out there in Wayne State. Been doing that for years, man.
Well, they built that new arena down there for the Motor City Cruise and Wayne State.
Like right off of West Ram Boulevard.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility, so yeah.
I had a chance to go. A friend of mine, George Davis, shout out to George, associate GM with the Pistons. He took me and gave me a visit around that place 2 years ago. This place is sick, including a $13 million condo suite that Tom Gores never uses. Like,
Wouldn't it be nice to be Tom Gores? Like, you just see him pop up at a Piston game in L.A., and you're like, wait, you don't even come to the Piston games in Detroit, but here you are in L.A.
I didn't know you still own the team.
I mean, is that something you want to stamp your name on?
No, it's not. It's one of those things. It sucks when you see a team that can't seem to get together. Talking about the Detroit Pistons, it's like you just start to pay attention to the ownership. And when you see teams that are good, it's ownership. It starts at the top, it goes and works its way down. Yep. Much like you see the Lions. Now Sheila Hamp is a very competent owner, and it starts at the top and it goes down. So there's no way to get around this thing. It's not bashing. It's not bashing Kool-Aid. It's just saying, you got to have an owner that's present. You got to have an owner that really wants to change things, yo.
Yeah, someone who's innovative, too. Yeah. You know, like Mark Cuban when he bought the Dallas Mavericks. You know, he just made that a place, a destination that free agents wanted to go. And we got so spoiled with Bill Davidson and the Pistons. And when he passed away, his kids really just, you know, no offense, they just weren't basketball people. They really didn't know what they do. They kind of hamstrung Joe Dumars into making any moves because they knew they were just going to sell the team. They didn't want to bury themselves in cap. Yeah. And it's just never picked up since then, and it's tough. And, you know, same thing with Mr. I. Like, the Red Wings and Tigers haven't been the same since Mr. I went away, and that's no knock on his kids. Yeah. But, you know, just because you have a kid doesn't mean, like, look at Michael Jordan's kid playing basketball.
What?
Good basketball player, but he ain't Michael Jordan, right? Yeah. So these may be good GMs, but they ain't Mr. I, and they ain't Bill Davidson.
Yeah, you're not lying. And you just look at the kids. I mean, you know, Jenny Buss she's a phenomenon. She was able to do it. Her dad kind of still was around towards the end, so she had some help in that regard. But winning a championship takes a lot, man. It takes the front office. It takes being dedicated. It takes being there. It takes picking the right players, keeping the right players, regardless of how good players are. I remember when they got rid of Stackhouse. Like, I was pissed. Like, Stack was one of my guys. He was a big brother to me as well. And remember, his house is right by your school.
Yep.
Right by your school. So they get rid of him, but they got rid of him with a plan, and then the plan paid off, you know, about 4 years later. But not everybody can do that.
And that's something I wanted to talk to Kool-Aid about, too, because we talk about how Cade Cunningham may not be that dude in a Pistons uniform. And I get a lot of bashing for saying that. And I haven't given up on Cade Cunningham. But just because he's good doesn't mean it won't better the team to bring in other people. Jerry Stackhouse was everything for the Detroit Pistons back then. Yeah. Grant Hill was everything. But guess what? They traded away Mr. Everything and built a better team. Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm afraid we're going to go with Cade Cunningham if things don't start to pick up. Kool-Aid, do you like that statement, or are you like do you understand what I'm saying though? Like, he is good. Cade Cunningham is elite. But sometimes you just got to trade that elite guy to bring in some functional parts.
I agree with that to a degree. The one difference between where they were when Grant Hill and Jerry Stackhouse was traded was that those guys were also getting a large portion of the cap. So there was nothing else that they could do to make any real improvements without getting rid of those guys, bringing in what you could out of that, as well as freeing up the cap space. So I believe if they spend the cap right, whether that's through acquisitions or whether that is through signing players straight up, I don't think they're quite to the point yet that they have to trade Cade. Now, as you're talking about this rookie extension that he's going to be eligible for this summer, and you look at the guys that have been like not as promising or don't have as big expectations in the past, like 3 or 4 years, those guys have gotten extensions. When you get to that point, I could see the Pistons moving in a direction where if it's not panning out once he gets that extension, that Cade could be a guy that they have to trade so that they don't have to start everything over. You can't start this rebuild over again. You can't.
What was Joe Dumars' famous quote when he was building that team? There's no sacred cows on this team.
Except for Rodney Stuckey.
Stuckey, man. Boom. And Stuckey was supposed to be the retribution for Darko, remember?
Oh,
like, we traded Darko and got that pick, and we're able to get Stuckey. You're like, all right, the Darko thing didn't work out. Maybe we could cash in a little bit with Stuckey. And, Stuckey was not a great NBA player.
But I agree with you more today than I probably did maybe, 4 or 5 months ago. Because we talk Pistons all the time. I probably do agree with that sentiment a little bit more than I used to.
Okay, I like it. They'll come around, Kool-Aid. They all come around in the end.
What will Cade be eligible for, Kool-Aid? Let's start there. What would be eligible for at the end of, what is it, this season?
Yeah, it's the max. It's that rookie max, 5-year max deal he'll be eligible for. I forget exactly what the numbers are, but it's going to be a pretty big payday for him.
Yeah, it'll be a big payday for him, but I'm of the mind, I agree with you to a certain extent. I think we need to keep Cade Cunningham, at least in this first round, extend him there, and then maybe make a move if it doesn't work out in 2 years. Because, you put a lot of time and effort in him as the leader of this team. You take him off that team, Stick, like, who's leading the squad?
I mean, who cares if they're 8-46? does it really matter who's leading? I could lead the squad to 8-46.
The blind, apparently.
Great comment though by Rick Trifecta in the chat right now. Thank you guys for following along. Make sure you like and subscribe. Said Devin Booker was considered a losing player with empty stats for the first 4 to 5 seasons. Now he's an all-star. Every Detroit fan wishes they had him. And then, I mean, that's fair. Some guys are worth the wait.
Yeah, but Devin Booker went for 70 year 2. Like, in year 2, he went for 70 points, and we knew he could play like that. He just needed pieces around him. We know to a certain extent that Cade Cunningham plays on both ends of the court and is a leader. But at the same time, I haven't seen that all-star capability. I haven't seen that next step for him to have me more excited to keep him. Devin Booker was a bucket. Like, no way around it. He was a bucket. He just needed pieces, and he needed adults around him to help him out. He got Chris Paul, he got KD, and you see what they're able to do. So, and to that, there's some truth. But don't act like he didn't score 70. 70 is a lot of points.
That's a great point. It really
70.
is. Like,
year 2.
I can't point to one Cade Cunningham performance where I'm like, man, this guy's a world beater. It's
there
like,
was one
man,
2
he
years
had a nice
ago.
solid game.
There was one last year, I think, in which he was the last season, the year before. With correct me if I'm wrong, Kool-Aid. He had about 29 in the second half. It was a big win. It was 29 in the second. I'm struggling to figure it out, but he had 29 in the second half, including like 8 assists in the fourth quarter to win the game. So I've seen a little something, but it wasn't 70.
That's not greatness. You haven't seen greatness. You've seen goodness.
Agreed.
And that's what you want out of your number one overall pick is greatness. And can he get there? Time will tell, and I think he's got the skill set to do it, but people were comparing him to Luka, what was that, a couple years ago? Like, he plays methodical, he gets to his space, but even Luka was putting up 60-point games, early on.
I think, too, that like consistency helps. I mean, you look at Cade Cunningham, he's gotten injured twice, but also he's had 2 different coaches in that span. One is an older guy in Dwayne Casey who never really knew how to coach the younger guys. He's more of an experienced guy. And now it's Monty Williams who's coming off what he came off with, not even maybe being the coach because of what was going on with his wife. So he's had some tough coaches and tough times. And get him some consistency, and maybe we can really see who Cade Cunningham is.
Speaking of Monty Williams, his son Elijah Williams had pretty much a breakout game in the Catholic League tournament against Orchard Lake St. Mary's. They ended up losing by 2.
Okay.
But
so you got the win.
Yeah, you got the win, but you could tell this kid as a sophomore is blossom. Like, he is going to be a problem in the state of Michigan for high school basketball.
And that's good to see, though. And you see Monty Williams, his family integrating himself into the state of Michigan.
He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah,
he moved his son here from Arizona to play ball.
Yeah. And that's a real thing. They knew it was good basketball here at the MHSAA, knew it was good talent out here, and so he gave it a shot. And rocking and rolling like that is a staple. Now we just have to see what Monty can do on the court with this Pistons team. A lot of young guys on this team, so how can Monty cultivate this talent?
Play Jaden Ivey. Play him. Start him. From the beginning of the season, that's how easy it was to be better. I will never understand starting Killian Hayes over Jaden Ivey to start the season. Never. There's nothing you can do to explain it to me unless you want to pull what they're doing with Klay Thompson right now. Like, he's coming off the bench as part 2 of our...
No, you were right at first. There's no justification.
What?
What? I tried to make it make sense, Stick. I tried to say that maybe it was Troy Weaver trying to double down on his pick and say, hey, you got to play my guy, and kind of figure out, is he going to be a player? But you're absolutely right. Like, come on, Monty. Like, you've been in the playoffs. You've been in the she's actually been in the NBA Finals, so you know what guys can and can't get it done. And Killian Hayes is a guy that he was supposed to be a shooter, and he couldn't shoot. That was the only big thing I always pointed to. You're supposed to be a shooter, he couldn't shoot.
Yep. His defense was good, though. Could have had Tyrese Halliburton, who was upset that the Pistons didn't draft him, but that's another conversation. Pete, I'm assuming you got Premier Pet Supply over there?
No. I was just working on something. Press the wrong button.
Good.
What's the library?
What else is new?
What do we got coming up?
We rolled to the 30-minute mark.
WSN merch which would be for you.
WSN
How
merch.
about that?
I got some on right now. The Woodward Baseball Original. You can go get that at woodwardsports.com/shop. Also got some old school Tiger designs. Stoked Not Scared, the theme that DMAC had for this season, and Brad Holmes is cooking. Go get all your new gear right now, woodwardsports.com/shop.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks or order online at fairwaypacking.com.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network and Fox2Detroit.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Ermanni or Maz, take your pick. Braylon Edwards is here because that's what Braylon Edwards does. He shows up, and you're staying hydrated today.
So, definitely staying hydrated. I typically drink a lot of water at the course of the week. Sometimes I don't get my greens. So, I stop at Beyond Juice and get one of these I Need Greens Hero drinks, and I've never drinking it warm, and it is terrible.
Yeah.
Kale, celery, cucumber, romaine lettuce, lemon, and parsley.
I remember one time I tried like a cayenne shot, one of those little things.
Oh, yeah, like these.
Dude, I ended up like almost crapping my pants. It was bad. So I never even mess with those things again. It's like, you know what? I'm going to work in a salad every once in a while.
They're dangerous. Especially that turmeric, the cayenne,
man,
ginger.
I got this fever. I got all warm, and it was like,
skin started getting itchy.
Yeah, and you're driving, all of a sudden you're like, puckering up, trying to get
the struggle to stay healthy at 41. Yes. Well, in 2 days, 40 now.
We're talking a little bit basketball. Mr. Big Shot, Chauncey Billups, honored as a finalist for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. To me, he should make it no problem. Finals MVP. Normally, you get the nod if you get there, but what he did to help lead the going-to-work Pistons and just become Mr. Big Shot. Now you've seen him move on to being a decent coach. He hasn't really accomplished much as a coach yet, but there's still time. They traded away Dame, so it's tough to recoup from that. But Chauncey Billups, Hall of Famer. What do you think, Braylon Edwards?
100%. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Look, he's a guy that I really, really built a relationship with when I was here, when I was at the University of Michigan. He would bring me down to go to the games. He wore one. I wore one. We bonded over that. I trained in Denver for the draft. He's from Denver, born and raised, played for the Nuggets as well. But I just look at how he led that going-to-work Pistons team, man. Yeah. He was a catalyst. He stood before. He stayed after. He made sure the personalities worked. He was the guy taking the brunt, of Larry Brown.
I was the guy taking the blunt.
100%. Now I am too, which is crazy. But he was taking the brunt for Larry Brown. Larry Brown's a difficult coach. He expects greatness, and not everybody can handle that. So Chauncey he stood in the front of the firing squad. He took that brunt, man. They won the championship. Should have won 2. I was at Game 5. I don't want to bring it up, although I just did with Big Shot Bob Horry. But just a hell of a guy too, on and off the court. He's a professional. He's class act. Just love what he did. And also, I saw his Bentley Coupe, and I said I gotta have one. So that was my first car because of Big Bro. And he was really good everywhere he was. Even when he was trying to find himself early in his career with the Raptors, the Boston Celtics, he still was a good point guard. He still was a guy that got things done. And I think his career after the Pistons with the Denver Nuggets, he still excelled when he was out there, still was an all-star, I think, once with the Denver Nuggets. He belongs.
Trading him to Denver. It was a nice move. It was a feel-good move, but it absolutely screwed the Pistons.
Yeah, it did.
Allen Iverson coming in here, getting kicked out of casinos.
Man, what?
All types of drama that dude. Oh, dude.
MGM used to,
And he'd clear out the casino and not let like normal people play on the floor. Instead of going to a high roller spot, he'd just want to be on the floor, putting on a show.
Want to be seen.
Yeah, and then he'd lose and not pay, and then they'd be like, Allen, get your ass out of here.
That's tough. I never understood losing and not paying because that check comes due. Trust me, I've had a night in Vegas where I lost way too much, and don't worry, in 30 days you gotta have that money. You gotta have that money.
But you brought it up, the marriage between Larry Brown being a point guard coach and coming across a guy like Chauncey Billups, who was kind of wandering throughout the NBA. Like you said, he's a number 3 overall draft pick by Rick Pitino and the Celtics. All of a sudden, 3 games in, Rick Pitino's like, I don't like my number 3 overall pick. Yeah. Let's trade him to Minnesota. He goes up there, has some decent years with KG, and then winds up here in Detroit. And that marriage of playing the right way and having a smart, intelligent point guard like Chauncey Billups, who wasn't trying to be the star and wasn't trying to steal the show night after night. He was perfectly happy feeding Rip around those screens, getting Ben Wallace involved on the post for the first play of every game. Like, he was the consummate professional, and he's on Detroit sports Mount Rushmore if we're talking about the Pistons.
Oh, yeah, 100%, man. It's just a guy, you look at Larry Brown and how he started off with AI. He had AI and just different type of personalities. You got a superstar in AI who may not necessarily done everything right off the court, but would definitely give his all on the court. He loved that about him, but he didn't like the other things. He didn't like maybe the selfishness. But hell, I'd have been selfish too if I'd have been playing on a 76ers team. But then he comes to the Pistons, and he gets a team, and he gets a guy in Chauncey Billups who he just wants to learn. He wants to feed everybody, which is quintessentially what Larry Brown is about. It was about the all of the 5, and I think that's what Chauncey is. Chauncey's a guy that doesn't matter if he's hot or not. He knows where the ball should go. He knows where the play should go, and he knows what to say at the right time. I mean, shoot, I still remember when he hit the half court shot against the Nuts.
Against the Nuts. Against these Nuts.
We off the rails today.
Yeah, they lost that game.
They should have lost that game. Yeah,
I hit my head on the ceiling when he hit that shot. I remember I lived at the Jeffersonian downtown, right by Belle Isle. They had
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Ceilings. I jump off my couch and hit my head right on the ceiling. Almost knocked myself out going into that overtime.
Like Gus Farad over there.
Yeah, exactly. Like banging your head. I was so excited when he hit that shot, and then they ended up losing that game. But still, it's a memorable moment for that team.
I still was at 7 that night. Win, lose, or draw, I was at 7 every time they played. It's a long hike from Ann Arbor to freaking Pontiac just to turn around and go back home. Because I couldn't let my mom know I went to the club from Ann Arbor. I'm supposed to be at school, so I couldn't go crash there. I had to go all the way back.
Big D Energy was talking about Pontiac earlier today, talking about Tiki Bobs, Clutch Cargos,
Have a nice day, Captain
Tonic on Sundays.
Even the haunted houses during October. The Erebus, there you go. Yep. They used to do the haunted house at Tonic. Like, for all 3 levels. They had the party scene in a chokehold back in the day. It wasn't downtown Detroit, contrary to popular belief. It was Pontiac. It was Pontiac where everything was going on.
Yeah, then all of a sudden, boom, it just went away. It's like Novi started building up a little bit. Mount Clemens started building up a little bit.
Even Detroit started opening up some casinos. And they had a couple clubs. Elysium opened up. That was a big club. Plan B, Envy.
I mean, Space downtown was sweet. Altered State was sweet. Like, we could go on and on talking about those club days.
Blue.
But those were celebratory days, and it's a celebratory team. And Kool-Aid, you said they're going to be honoring the 2004 team this year?
Yes, they are. March 17th. I believe it's a Sunday against the Miami Heat at 3 o'clock. They will be honoring the 2004 championship-winning Detroit Pistons.
And when you think about that 2004 team, like, what is the first thing that comes to mind, State?
Just so much. I mean, honestly, like, my experience with it was, I was only a couple years deep into media working at DRQ, which was owned by ABC Disney, which was presenting the finals. So we had all access passes to do whatever the hell we wanted. And
I can only imagine.
Coming up with fun promotions. We were making people, like, decorate their car for the Pistons, and someone put, like, a bunch of trash bags blown up on their car so it looked like a big afro. And, just the fan interaction was awesome during those games. And when they won the championship, I was downtown and just watching Jefferson fill up and become wall-to-wall cars, people hanging out the cars, celebrating just what that brought to the city. Bill Davidson at the speech, talking about both, every time, calling out the media, calling out the people that doubted him, just, beating Shaq and Kobe and Karl Malone and Gary Payton and Luke Walton having I have so many memories of that short period of time. It's amazing.
My biggest memories, like you said, there's a ton of memories, but my biggest memory is they only let 2 teams score over 100 that year. Like, just let that sink in. Only 2 teams scored over 100 points on that Pistons team. Like, that is, if anything,
Was it 7 games that they held people under 70 points in a row? Or something?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, if somebody broke 70, it was like, this team's good.
Yeah, it was crazy because when I forget what team it was that broke the 70, it might have been the Nets. They were literally celebrating a loss. They got beat. They got blew out. But just because they broke 70 points, and they literally called the timeout to try and scheme something up to try and stop the Pistons' defensive record.
Yeah.
This team was celebrating losing to the Pistons just because they finally got over 70 points. That's dominance.
The Tayshaun block, Steven Surratt puts in the chat.
And that,
Sirat, however you say your last name. Sorry.
You know what? He's 100% right. It is a Tayshaun block, but that Tayshaun block is what? It's a defensive play.
Yep.
What makes you now open the floodgates to think about how defensively dominant
the guaranteed.
The guaranteed. Ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
Fear the fro.
I mean, you talk about Mike, what is it? Mike Jones?
Oh yeah, Mike Jones.
Mike James.
Mike James.
Sorry, Mike James and Lindsey Hunter coming off the bench. You got Memo coming off the bench.
Hey, Memo occurred. We got Memo paid.
Yeah.
Mehmet got paid with Utah after he left here.
Well, that was one of the big decisions Joe Dumars had to make. Do you re-sign Rasheed or do you pay Memo? And people can argue what the outcome of it was, but you got to pay Sheed, man. You had to pay Sheed.
You got to keep Sheed. Sheed is, when you look at Sheed is kind of like a C.J. Gardner-Johnson player where the identity was Rasheed, and Rasheed took a lot of that because his reputation from the Portland Trailblazers, but he was just great when he was at Uncle Roscoe. But it was
the championship belts the next year.
Man, what that was, even the intro. Like, if we talk about Mason with the intro, like what? Like the intro was legendary, man. Like the NBA has always hated.
Yeah, when they take that sledgehammer and hit, and the fucking place, or the place would go absolutely insane.
That place was berserk, and I don't say that because I'm born and raised in Detroit. Like, it really was berserk. I remember my agent and I went to the next year, San Antonio. We went to that series. And he's from Denver, and he's been, he's done this for a long time. He's like, B, I don't think I've ever heard a place this loud. Like, it was electric. The fire shooting up. Can't do that now.
Thunder sticks.
Yeah, 270 plus. They broke the record for sellouts.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
That's a fudge number, but we'll give them it. I mean, I went to some of those games against lowly teams, but it was the corporations would step on up, buy 1,000 tickets just to get that sellout.
I will say this as an individual that played at University of Michigan in the big house. I understand about fudging numbers. I understand. Here's a couple times we fudged the numbers. You look, it was like about 90,000 people in there.
Yep.
Yeah. It happens.
Corliss Williamson. That's a great name too.
Corliss.
Big nasty. Chucky Atkins. Chucky wasn't a part of the championship run though.
Oh,
he got traded midway through that season.
That's right.
Yeah. That's the sad part. Like the John Barrys, the Chucky Atkins that got you there. Those were the guys that helped build that foundation to become what they were in 04.
You know, I wanted to get one was he came the next year.
McDice.
I love Antonio McDice.
Diggity dice.
Like, I couldn't even get it out. Yeah, you paused. You already knew who I was talking about. Antonio McDice was, first of all, when he first got in the league, like his athleticism for the Nuggets. Oh my God! And then you bring him here, less athletic but still a physical presence. I really wanted him to get one, man. I really thought.
Then they went down the Chris Webber route with number 88, Chris Webber.
Was it 88 or 84?
It was 84.
84?
Either way, not a basketball number.
Yeah, it was a wide receiver number. I'm like, throw him a sideline pass.
I think Lindsey Hunter was one of the, I'm not going to say lucky because he definitely contributed, but he was actually involved in the trade that brought in Rasheed Wallace. And then I believe Atlanta released him, and then the Pistons was like, hey, come on right back in.
Now, what? He got one with the Lakers.
Yeah.
He got one with the Pistons. Yeah. He was a part of Chicago's good run, too, early on when they first got Kirk Heinrich, a couple of those guys.
Well, either way, they're going to be honoring them down at LCA on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. Kool-Aid, I know you're taking all the boys down there.
Yeah. Yes, sir. We're going to have fun down there, too, man.
I missed the Chauncey jersey retirement, so that may not be something I try to miss, is getting all those dudes back together.
Yeah, it sucks. I missed that too. It's gonna be great. It's crazy now because you see them around a lot. You see a lot of those guys around. You see Ben all the time. You see Chauncey has come back before he was coaching. Let's say out with Portland. You see those guys. You see Tayshaun here and there. So it'd be good to see them all together though. Like 1 or 2 is one thing, but you're talking about 10 to 15. That'd be real good.
People throwing out Cliff Robinson. Rest in peace, Uncle Cliffy.
Cliff actually is like Cliff is very instrumental into what Rasheed did on Shaq. He basically taught Rasheed how to guard Shaq. He
and
said,
Eldon Campbell.
And Eldon Campbell. He said, you can't keep banging with the big fella. He said, he's too heavy. Like, legitimately, you're going to wear yourself out. You're going to be using all these bags of ice. He said, you got to pull him out to where you were. And you saw him do that to Shaq a lot when they played. He would pull Shaq out, pull him away from the rim, and take all and not try to. Shaq's the most dominant force in sports history.
Beast.
Like 100%. You can't bang with the big fella.
Where are we going, Pete?
Big boy.
Big boy.
Would you like that?
Yeah.
Actually, I got it.
All right, knock it out, Pete.
All right. Well, I don't have Maz's bobblehead, but I will tell you that wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmesan or the new Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl. How about breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back, the classic lumberjack or the Santa Fe Garde. Also, new apple pie hotcakes that are too good to miss. Top it all off with the gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
And welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Look at Pete Spivak working that camera, showing off that beautiful desk.
He finally got a shave. I appreciate that, man. You look good now. You came, you got a clean shave. Your head is cleanly shaven. Pause. You got a little, good smooth face.
Clean myself up over the weekend.
Yeah, you had the struggle man beard going on for a couple weeks, man. I'm glad you got that together, brother.
Hey, you still got those pimping glasses though, and that's all that matters.
I can't see without these damn things.
The old Ben Franklins. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. Maz is also out. We have Braylon Edwards here, Detroit Kool-Aid, and of course Pete Spivak. You don't have to take the glasses off, Pete.
Glasses
You kept
move,
them on.
I don't need them now. Now I'm sexy.
All right.
I don't know about that, man.
Sexy specs. Since we're reminiscing the old sexy spec
You trying to be
commercial.
sexy, now you're going to mess up all the reads. You're putting the wrong videos up there because you can't see them. Come on now, Pete.
Let's talk about the All-Star game. The final score.
Let's not.
211 to 186. 211 to 186. Is there even a point to watch this shenanigan anymore?
Remember when you would go back to the high school stick and you go play the current high school basketball team, but it'd be like the past guys that were those dudes, and you try to break the clock on the younger kids, trying to get to 100. Well, they almost broke the clock 4 times. I just think, even when Adam Silver gave the award out to the East, you saw how he did it. He was like, well, the East, you won 211 points. Here you go. It was almost like you're making us look bad. But Stick, we talk about this every year, the Monday after the All-Star game. All-Star weekend, we all say it's no longer. My birthday's in February. One of my favorite things about my birthday, Stick, my birthday's in 2 days. It always was the week before or the week of the All-Star game. I love the dunk contest, love the three-point contest. I love when they start doing the Rising Stars and like the early, mid-2000s. You love the All-Star game itself and people playing to a certain level to be somewhat competitive, fun in the first half, a little more competitive in the third, and in the fourth, it's time to get this trophy. It's trying to get this money. But now it seems like the more money you play players in any sport, whether it's football with the Pro Bowl, whether it's basketball, I mean, you got guys making making $60 million a year. I understand.
I'm not going to pull a hand.
Why they don't want to be a dunk contest. That's why Jaylen Brown should have stayed out of it instead of do what he did with that fake D Brown dunk. But that's neither here nor there. Stick, how can the NBA All-Star weekend experience, especially the All-Star game itself, be better?
So I got two solutions to this.
Okay,
one,
two.
I know you grew up about the same time I did. Remember MTV Rock and Jock?
It was the best celebrity game ever.
And they had like 10-point
10
shots on
shot.
the floor. That's what I need to see.
And so entertain.
Like if you're at minimum, entertain me.
Okay.
This horrible display of basketball. At least I can see dudes shooting at a 40-foot rim. See something I haven't seen. And the other, if you want to get serious about it and hope it brings out some competitive edge, go world versus America. You put the world all-stars against the United States all-stars, and you turn it in a battle of the country.
It automatically creates competition.
It creates pride, right?
Yeah.
Because that's none of these guys have any pride in East or West. And you see it in baseball, too. And that decides who gets home field advantage at the World Series. And they still don't have pride in that game.
Like, whatever.
It's like, all right, well, now I just don't care in the regular season. We just got to win.
Then a home run derby is even weird in baseball now because the players that hit the most home runs don't even win. Because you got to hit a certain amount of home runs to continue. If you're already ahead, you don't have to hit that many. Like, look at Julio from when Julio Rodriguez last year, like he had like 60 home runs in the first 2 rounds and didn't count. And it didn't
in the
count.
Finals.
So I like that though, the world versus the NBA, because it's already a lot of friction with the world and US anyway, because the world tends to own the NBA the MVP right now. You look at, there hasn't been an American to win in 6 years.
Yeah.
So, and then you talk about Wembanyama, all the hype over him. Is he better than the hype over LeBron when LeBron came out? So, I like that idea.
Yeah, there's that. There's one more that's super controversial.
Okay.
The black versus white game.
Are we talking skin color?
Yeah.
You don't want this smoke.
I mean,
who you got? Does Luka count?
Luka's white.
Luka's not from here.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, you got Luka.
We'll do like that Family Guy meme where they just hold up skin color and like the lighter you like, there'll be a break off for light skins.
So, but does Devin Booker count?
That's where there could be a whole light skin team and we can do a round robin tournament.
So we got team light skin, we got team black, and
team
we got
white.
team white. Oh my God.
Listen, I'm just thinking of something that would spark interest. And wouldn't you watch that? Like, they talked about it during the football
I would lie
season.
about it, but yes, I will watch.
Everybody
watching
would.
that.
Everybody would. Like, oh, man, the white guys won this year.
Nah,
oh, my
happening.
God. See?
Ain't happening.
See?
Ain't happening.
I'm telling you, that's the only way to save the All-Star. Because look at
okay, so you got
Luka,
Luka, and you have Jokic.
Yep. We sure do. That's all we need, baby.
I'm like, Giannis, Joel, LeBron, KD, Booker, maybe, depending on what we decide on the shake of it.
You could have Dave Chappelle do like the black delegation selects and have the racial draft.
First of all, we're selecting Patrick Mahomes first. We can get that one out the way. We just
for the celebrity all-star game.
Let's get him first.
But let's have fun with it.
No,
right?
that's real.
And honestly, like to me, that helps race relations. We're playing like we can have fun with it. Like there's
2
white guys in this room versus 2 black guys. I would probably take you 2 over us in a game of basketball. Sorry, Pete.
Yeah, not with him.
But honestly, at least you would get some interest.
It would definitely get some interest, whether it's the world, whether versus USA, whether it's white versus black.
As it says, end racism on the court.
Hey, segregation's still real. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Right. All the white guys wear jerseys that say ally like they did during
they got black Jordans on. What about the dunk contest itself? Getting to the dunk contest, you see Jaylen Brown was in the dunk contest. He's somebody that just received Supermax, I believe, before the season, or he's about to receive his Supermax. He's in it. He makes the finals. His dunks were trash. Mac McClung, they woke him up again from the G League or wherever they found him. Like, they unfroze him 100% last year.
See, look at that. The white delegation representing.
I feel you. The 100%. And is there a way to make the dunk contest better? Kool-Aid, I want you to get in on this because I remember a couple years ago they tried to do it as a team dunk contest. They had different deals. John Wall's team won one year. It was weird. I just think we've gotten to a point. You've seen every dunk there is.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the thing. You've seen every dunk there is. Like, Okay, you gave an example, or you gave a suggestion. Maybe I have one.
Uh-oh.
No, this is a good one. It's better than black versus white, I tell you that. What about, like, pig?
I would love that.
So as opposed to horse, which is the game's too long, pig. Yep. You have guys, you got to do what I do, or I have to do what you do, etc. I mean, you just have a couple guys and you play pig.
And because that's part of the, like, what kills the dunk contest is the endless tries.
Oh my,
right?
yeah.
Like, you get one try. If you mess up, you're done. I'm sorry. You get one shot at this. I would like that. But yeah, I love the skills competition. Someone suggested a one-on-one bracket tournament, a 21 tournament or 11, whatever you want to play to. Just like when you go to a gym and you pick up with the boys, what are you playing?
21.
And wouldn't you love to see the best athletes in the world do that?
I would. I think the biggest problem with that, though, is this is an exhibition that takes place in the middle of their season. You don't want guys out there tearing ACLs that have the chance to make the playoffs or their team is returned. So I think that's where it gets tough.
Yeah.
Because if I'm an owner, like, and I'm paying set guys $60 million, or shit, if I'm paying him $20 million, I'm like, hey, he can't be in that. If you guys are doing this extra stuff, I would prefer it if he doesn't get into it. So I think that's what makes it hard with the NBA. But
the pig game would be awesome.
Pig would be fun. Like, side note, with the skills challenge, Kool-Aid, did you see it? Used to be, had a circle that was a little bit bigger than the ball, had a net behind it, had to perfect your pass and go on to your next one. Did you see the O that they had to throw the ball through this year? It was like the same size as a Windsor Tunnel.
Yeah, it was like the size of this Lady Jane's logo behind.
Might have been bigger. Like, if you do the Lady Jane's and the haircuts forever, like, that's how big that hole was. Like, it was ridiculous.
And do you think that's part of the players not wanting to look like fools and being like,
looking bad if they can't get a pass in there? Sometimes you gotta say F those feelings, though. Like, sometimes, like, this is, if you can't make the pass, then you should have stayed up till 4 a.m. party. Or maybe you should.
That's what weekend's all about, you know.
True.
Or how about this idea? Throw some regular Joes out there with the athletes. Like, each team has to.
That's what the dunk contest has right now.
Some Mac McClung dudes.
Like, Mac McClung did another dunk this year, and you got to give him credit. Look, he did the first dunk he did, I think I haven't seen before, so love to that one. But he finally dunked over Shaq. We've seen a bunch of people attempt to dunk over Shaq. They pushed his neck down, or pushed his shoulders down, or Shaq got nervous and moved. This is the first time that I've seen an individual completely clear Shaq. Now, his neck was just a little bit tilted, so he wasn't 7'1". He probably was 7 foot even, if you will. But Mac cleared him without using his shoulders, without using him at all, and made the dunk. Like, it's something to be said, considering he's also 5'10.5", 5'11" on a really good day.
I mean, it's great, but it's not, it's not Dominique Wilkins back in the day.
Windmill,
it's not Spud Webb. It's
Jordan
not,
from the free throw line.
It's not Jordan, right?
Brent Berry from the free throw line.
There's really been no memorable moments. Like, the last memorable moment was Blake Griffin jumping over a Kia.
And technically, that shouldn't be remembered because he jumped over, like, the hood.
The hood.
They jumped over the hood, and we know Blake has hops. I would say, like, the Dwight Howard era was
Superman.
Yeah,
put the cape on.
Because I think Dwight surprised us that first dunk contest. Like, we were expecting some 6'10" guy, broad shoulders. You're like, man, he's not going to be able to compete in the dunk contest, and he surprised us year 1 and 2. Nate Robinson, maybe.
I saw somebody put up, like, hey, listen, look at what these guys, the effort they put in for this in-season tournament when they're all getting $500,000 if they win. Why don't you throw a $5 million bag out there and really get some talent in this thing?
At 100%. See, one thing is because the in-season tournament affects the playoffs. So I think that's part of it. 2, when you're talking big money, now you say $5 million, because if these guys are making. Did you see Luka? Luka, because of he's made the All NBA last 3 years in a row, Luka will be eligible to make $73 million with his extension next season. $73 million a year will be his extension. You think he's sweating $1 million? Like, first time I heard somebody turn down like $2 million was Jay-Z in 2008 for some concert that they offered him. He said, "I just wasn't the right look." I said, "Oh my God, $2 million? You turned it down?" That's the type of money these NBA players have. So you got to make it worth their while. Like, $5 million, that sounds a little bit more than 1.
All right, NBA. Well, we had a good think tank. You got 4 ideas on the table.
You got 4.
And
roll with something.
Yeah, you got to do something. I think that's the bottom line.
What did you think of? I like the 3-point contest. 3-point contest is always solid because guys really have to shoot. You have 4 guys tied at 26. Then they had a shoot off, and then you get the playoffs. So that was perfect. Dame won. Shout out to Dame. He also won MVP of the game. Dame time is winning right now. Maybe that's a sign of things to come from Milwaukee. But what did you think about the women versus the men in the 3-point contest? Steph versus Sabrina Ionescu.
I love it. Why not? It's a shooting contest, why not? I mean, women's basketball has more traction now than I think it's ever had.
Yeah, it's more way watched than men's college basketball, I'll tell you that. Well, they lead that.
Well, and part of that is these women players are staying for 4 years and becoming things.
100%. Caitlin Clark.
Not playing 1 year, then going to the WNBA.
Paige Beckers.
And I think when college gets back to that, but it's tough to convince an 18-year-old kid to turn down $20 million. But if they're making it in college, they can do that. Pete, who we got? Kool-Aid, tell us a little bit about something.
Caitlin Clark. She's going to win next year, by the
way. Hey, Fairway Packing. Listen.
Did you just do Fairway?
Yeah.
Man, that's Ryan skips it.
Stick's about to make some changes right here.
Keep it rolling.
Come on, who does this?
Keep the show rolling.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks, or order online at fairwaypacking.com.
Here's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy.
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Hey, how you doing? Well, Stanford. Let me read this over here. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand, you offer more products, but you get that same great service that customers have known to trust. And just on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile, that's where you got to go check out Les Stanford Chevrolet. And you can check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today. LesStanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet.
Together,
let's drive.
Let's drive. Do you like the new model? They changed it from 5 New Roads to Together Let's Drive. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it works for me. Their marketing team must have done some research, and they found out Together Let's Drive, and I'm glad we can get back to riding around in cars together.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see, you made that make sense to everybody out there, I believe.
Yeah, I mean that used to be like a communal thing. Like, hey, you just want to go on a ride. And then gas prices went to like $6. Everyone's like, we can't afford to even do that.
No, they was like, Get the hitchhike film out there.
Where do you want to go with this? You want to talk NFL draft? You want to talk a little Tigers? I'm leaving it up to you, Braylon.
Let's get to Detroit Lions. We know that's what the city of Detroit wants to hear about. That's what people tune into our show about, to hear about the Detroit Lions, hear about their first 4 picks in the first 93 picks. That's what they have right now. Talking about what they're potentially going to do. So, let's talk about the Lions in the draft.
Well, we were talking before the show, and it's must-see TV all the way from pick 1 to pick 32 on the first night because of what Brad Holmes has proven to do in the past. In the past 2 drafts, he's traded up. He's moved around. Yeah. And so even though the Lions are locked in at, I believe, 30 or 29 right now, they're locked in at 20. That's going to move, especially with the amount of assets that he has. He could very well trade up with the Vikings, trade up to get to where the Broncos are. And it really depends on what they want and what they need. But that's what makes this so exciting and what makes every moment of the draft now so exciting. We used to just wait around for our pick and know the Lions were going to botch it. Like that was just something that was going on. I remember during COVID, like the one thing that felt right was you knew the Lions were going to screw up the pick. And it was like
100%.
This feels normal again. I miss this. And that's what the Lions do to you. But now with Brad Holmes, it's like, okay, is he going to trade up to 12? Is he going to trade back? Are we going to get more assets? Could we not even pick anybody day 1? Could we move up to the number 2 pick? Like, I don't know what Brad Holmes' game plan is, and he's so good at throwing up smoke screens. And even if you thought you knew his game plan, he mentioned it. He's drafting from a completely different list that Mel Kipers of the world are putting out, that ESPN's putting out, that any mock draft is putting out, because he has his guys that fit what the Detroit Lions think, feel, and execute. And it's a different list than what everybody else is looking at. And you saw it last year with Jahmyr Gibbs. You saw it with Campbell. You saw it with Brian Branch. Those were guys that people said he reached for, but he was like, no, these were the first-round grades. And for us to get those guys in the second round, those were our first-round grades. May not have been Indianapolis, but it was ours. And I love that he has just a conscience about where he wants to be.
Yeah, 100%. Brown Holmes and Dan Campbell, they do things their own way. Sheila Hamm have to add her into there. They do things their way and works for the Detroit Lions. Doing it that way has gotten them into the NFC Championship this past season after 3 years of building and working around and getting and becoming better. I agree with you 100%. Brown Holmes, he has his own list of players. When Mel Kiper comes out with a list, or Todd McShay, when they come out with a list, I've been on these lists, I know what it is. When you make a list, it's what are the best players in the country? Who are the best players, the most explosive players, the players that you know fit on most anybody's team? So, all right, cool. You look at this, it's a Caleb Williams. Is it a Drake May? Is it an insert verse from Florida State, the outside linebacker? Like, that's how it works. But with Brad Holmes, you're 100% correct. What fits the Detroit Lions? What guy has the makeup? What guy has what we need? What guy do we believe can come in here and learn the same identity that these other guys have, play for one another? There are no individuals, although they're starting to, become out a little bit. Amon-Ra St. Brown has become an individual. You look at Aiden Hutchinson but they're a team. And I think that's what they're looking for in these players. But you got to know, the draft this year is in Detroit. It's downtown. It's Campus Martius, where it will be set up this year. April 24th, I believe, is when it gets cracking. You know Brad Holmes is going to make a big splash in the first round. It will only be fitting if he made a splash like that, one within realm of reason, and one without a little bit. Got to give him some love. Downtown Detroit, the city can go crazy.
Do you think that weighs into Brad Holmes' decision? Because I look at him as a guy that's not going to waver off his path, no matter what.
But he does it anyway.
Surrounding him.
I think he does it anyway. So I think.
But if he traded out at 29 and we didn't get a pick that whole Thursday,
hell no.
You don't think that would happen in downtown Detroit?
No, you can't. You cannot have somebody not walk the stage and it's in Detroit.
But it's Brad Holmes. I'm just saying, I could see Brad Holmes being like, I don't give a damn if it's in Detroit, L.A., on the moon, Mars. If we don't have our guy, I'm not going to go just waste a pick to placate the city. Like, I see him being steadfast in that, but that is an extra added pressure this year that's very interesting that Detroit has on them.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. It could. Like, to your point, Brad Holmes is a guy that does things his way. We just said that. So it could happen, but I don't see it happening. I think he's a guy that likes to take big splashes. I think he's a guy that sees what people don't see. So I don't even think he sees it as making a big splash. He just saw something that people didn't see. Last year, what people didn't see, they didn't see Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta being those, or Jack Campbell, being those first-round picks, and they were. And Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta in the second round worked out tremendously well.
Right.
Jack Campbell will see some player development, some growth, as his coach is Calvin Shepard. And that's been another thing. I still stand on what I said last year, though. You remember? I got up after Jack Campbell got drafted.
Yeah. No, there was... there was a lot of hurt people in that room when Jahmyr Gibbs got picked, when they passed on Jalen Carter. But now, everything that's come out about Jalen Carter, what happened to the defense of the Eagles this year, you got to admit that was probably the right non-pick, and that's what Brad Holmes was speaking about when he was kind of lecturing the entire media. Like, it's not about the moves I make, too, guys. It's about the moves I don't make.
This is true. Also another big move you look at is, and this is one we've talked about till we're blue in the face. Tom Masaway would still love to bring this one up. Shout out to the big fella. Once again, happy belated birthday. Yesterday it was. Penei Sewell and Micah Parsons. That's one of the biggest ones that he talked about. Obviously, was on the side of Micah Parsons, as most people were. Stick, I know you are always on the side.
Hell of a basketball player.
Of Penei Sewell, 100% you were. You're starting to watch that move play out. Micah Parsons still has 40 sacks in his first 4 seasons. I think the only person to do that since him is Alden Smith, who did it in 2011 through 14. But you start to see some chinks in the armor when teams run the ball at Micah Parsons, when they don't allow him to just pin his ear back and rush the quarterback, tends to struggle. You saw that happen over and over again last. You saw it with the Eagles. You saw it with the Lions to a certain extent, and then you saw it in the playoffs. But Penei Sewell has become the best right tackle in football. Mm-hmm. He's become the highest graded right tackle in football. He's getting better and better every year. And I'll also start to look at Penei Sewell has no injuries, knock on wood. Penei Sewell is very durable. Like, he's the most durable line on the offensive line. Meanwhile, Micah Parsons, those chips, those nicks, those triple teams and things of that nature, they start to take a toll. You see J.J. Watt, how his career started to go. Von Miller, T.J. Watt now. Guys get injured at that position. I think more and more it's starting to be an equal pick, if not Penei pulling a little ahead.
The thing that pushed him ahead of me for Micah Parsons is if you added Micah Parsons to that Detroit defense at the time, you have Micah Parsons and 10 other guys that aren't really good.
10 Joes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you added Penei Sewell to a line that was already strong, you became elite in at least one spot on the football field, right? Now you could start to take that one spot and build an identity around it.
This is a good point.
And that to me is what made me want Sewell over Parsons, and that's what I argue with Maz. Like, Parsons is great. Like, I would never say that this guy isn't a future Hall of Famer. He absolutely is. He will be fantastic. He is fantastic. But he wouldn't have given Detroit an identity. It would have been, man, Detroit has one good linebacker, but they're still giving up 42 points a game.
It could have also felt very similar. It could have felt like when we first got Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh was a wrecking ball, but it was just him. And eventually he gets the guys, Nick Fairley and a couple guys, and then, it's the next move they had to move him out. But I didn't see it then at the time, Stick, but I definitely see it now. And you got that offensive line going. They are the catalyst for the Detroit Lions.
For everything.
Look at that run game. You look at how they protect Jared Goff, allow him to have an easy pocket, clean pocket, if you will. That Lions offensive line has been the best in the last 2 years, especially when they're fully healthy.
Well, remember when the Lions could not get a 100-yard rusher to save their lives?
What?
We went like 3 years without one. Kevin Jones
longer.
was the last one to do it. Like, it was forever.
Who's it, Kerryon Johnson?
Reggie Bush had a 100-yard game or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was years.
Reggie didn't hurt his ankle that year.
Yeah. I mean, Reggie and Joyke
Reggie balled.
Reggie and Joyke were a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, he almost had 1,000. That when he hurt his ankle.
Yeah, but just once again, now it's like we expect a 1,000-yard rusher each season, and I mean we almost got 2 guys with that this year.
This is true.
This
is true.
It's crazy to me, and just all the streaks that the Lions used to be awful at, winning on the road. We went 2 years without winning on the road. Now it's just in the past. So yeah, going down those horrible memories.
What are your thoughts this year in terms of guys got to get paid? Because obviously we'll talk about the draft. We'll in depth. We'll do our first mocks probably next week or so. But the other side of it is free agency. It's guys coming up, guys you got to pay. That's something to look at. Lions got some couple guys that are coming up. Stick, who would be on your list of guys if you just had 3 guys? Who are the first 3 guys you think the Lions should tackle with payment?
With payment?
Yeah, in terms of like extending Jared Goff this year. Do you think you extend Jared Goff, or do you let him pay that $33 million out?
I'm letting Jared Goff play out his contract and potentially franchising him if he does well at the end of this year.
Okay.
That's my play with Jared Goff. I want Jared Goff, but there's financial implications on how to do this correctly. I saw the rumor Amon-Ra St. Brown going to get $25 million for the next couple of years.
$375.
Yeah, you got to pay him. You got to pay Amon-Ra St. Brown. I believe he's a part of this offense that clicks, and he's the catalyst on third down. He's our go-to guy. And you need to pay him. And I think if you get him at $25 million now, that's a discount to 2 years from now when $33 million is going to get you a Wes Welker type guy.
Considering 2 years ago, Christian Kirk got $24 million.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Graham Glasgow is another guy they bring in. He's a guy with the way the offensive line is. He plays all 3 positions, tackle, guard, and center. Is this somebody that's on your radar?
Yeah, keeping everybody on that offensive line in play is on my radar.
So Jonah Jackson then, who's coming off an injury.
Yeah, but you can get them at a discount that way. So anytime you can keep those guys on the roster, I want to do it. Defensively, to me, the only golden goose is Aiden Hutchinson at this point. He's the only guy I'm willing to overpay and protect. Everybody else, until they prove otherwise, aren't that dude. Like, they're good as a team, they're good as a collective, but nobody's a standout.
Interesting with that. A guy that didn't play a lot of games, he was injured, he came in to do a duty, but when he was in there, he was in there, he was electric in terms of energy. Didn't necessarily have the best game in the NFC Championship, but he's electric with the identity on both sides. That's C.J. Gardner-Johnson. What do you I can already see where you're going as I'm asking this question. What are your thoughts on C.J. Gardner-Johnson?
I like CJ. I like what he brings. I like him talking trash, but if you're going to talk trash, you better back it up. And that was the problem. Waving to the San Francisco fans before the game's over. To me, that showed that they were taking their eye off the prize and were letting somebody up off the mat. Like, you can't think you won in the second quarter. period. You just can't. Of anything, of any sport, anywhere. He kind of underperformed for me this year.
Yeah.
From what I wanted to see out of him. But he's kind of the only guy that's got that bravado on defense that you need. You know, that Rasheed Wallace type talk trash.
Deebo Samuel, shoot.
Yeah.
The guy he was talking to just didn't work, but yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you got to pick and choose who you're talking trash to.
And we said that it was funny, too, because he also got into a back and forth with Baker Mayfield.
But got the pick?
100%, right? The tip pass off Mike Evans' hands. But when he started talking to Deebo, I was like, hold up. This ain't the one. I was like, no, not him. I was like, Deebo, don't do it. But
yeah, I don't know. To me, that's a culture fit, and that's something that they got to ask because he's different than anybody else in that locker room. You really didn't see a lot of trash talk from anybody else.
Kirby Joseph was talking every now and again, and Kirby Joseph, to your point, that everybody else was particularly quiet. But
Warren Sharp has a mock draft, and we're going to discuss who he has the Lions taking coming up after this. Pete, what do we got right now? Swiss.
How about that?
Swizzy.
There's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is the insurance rates are going up across the board in Michigan. The good news is that Swiss Insurance is here to help. Excuse me as I clear my throat. I need them to help me with that. Right now, pause, more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance revised. Swiss will make sure your carrier does not slip in extra fees or raise deductibles. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today or visit SwissINS.com. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Lady Jane's, you can walk on in. It's wicked awesome. And you see these beautiful young ladies cutting hair here in downtown Birmingham. But there's Lady Jane's all over Metro Detroit and all over this great country of America. You want those precision haircuts, you go get them at Lady Jane's today. Walk in anytime like Braylon does on the shot. It's wicked awesome. Welcome back to Woodward Sports. We're also live on Fox2Detroit.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. That is Braylon Edwards, cleaning up his laptop. A little bit of spillage action over there. Pete Spivak is here.
You wouldn't even know this.
Detroit Kool-Aid is here. And Braylon, you asked me a question about Brad Holmes during the break.
Yeah.
You want to ask it again, and
Yeah,
we'll kind of go around the horn with it, and we'll get some comments from the chat because apparently we're not reading from the chat enough.
I want the chat to lean into this one.
Say
100%.
better stuff.
This is true, man. We want you guys to lean in, so we'll lean into you. Brad Holmes hasn't necessarily made the splash in the free agency market. Last year he gets C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He gets hurt. Emmanuel Mosley also gets hurt. Cam Sutton, 1-year deal, kind of a prove-it deal if you want to. He's trying to always get the guy, it seems, the hidden gem or get the guy for less, trying not to spend the money, trying to save money so that they have it to pay their players or have it to play maybe when the big splash does happen. Does that bother you with Brad Holmes? Because it feels like there's been some free agents that are left out there that he hasn't necessarily gotten to that could have helped the program or helped the franchise. Is that something that bothers you, or are you still trusting and you think this will be the year that he may make a move like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's two trains of thought. Brad Holmes, I'm going to trust him until he gives me a reason not to. And so far, he has not given me any reason to doubt his moves and what they're making. And to me, it's all a part of their long-term game plan. Yeah. And I don't think Brad Holmes is going to go make that splash move before the trade deadline or in free agency unless he thinks that guy is the missing piece. And that's what we saw with Chase Young. Like, okay, that wasn't the missing piece that would have put this Lions team over the top to win a Super Bowl. So he didn't go pursue it and waste that third-round pick that we're going to be so excited about in a couple weeks here in Detroit.
Yeah, two of those now.
And that's where I think, like, understanding the bigger picture with these men and what they're doing and how they're building it for the long term is more important than, hey, we got a shiny object and it's awesome. It's like, well, okay, we got the shiny object, but we weren't ready for that part yet. You know, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, and the foundation's there now. I think this year or next year is the year that we're going to see that big splash where they go get a player that they overpay for, but somebody that's an absolute difference maker on the field. And until Brad Holmes, like I said, gives me a reason to not trust that he has got a solid vision and they're working in the proper progression, to me, he's doing everything the right way. Because the success is on paper, and the success is every Sunday during the game. So I don't need that player right now.
Yeah.
But it's going to be exciting when Brad Holmes finally puts his finger on a guy and be like, you are blessed. You are coming here to finish the project.
Yeah, 100%. Kool-Aid, I want to get you involved in this as well. You know, there's some pretty high-ranking free agents available this year. Chris Jones in talks with the Kansas City Chiefs, hasn't signed anything yet. L'Jarius Sneed is one of those guys. T. Higgins is a wide receiver, although we don't need him. Jalen Johnson, another defensive back for the Chicago Bears right now. Don't know if they let him go within his own division, but is there somebody on your radar that you think is somebody that, hey, look, man, Brad Holmes, if he took a flyer on this guy, I wouldn't mind because I don't think it would hurt the ecosystem. At the same time, I think this guy could be a Lions guy.
Man, listen, I've talked about, with Broder and Woodward, L'Jarius Sneed, what Chris Jones would mean to this Lions defense. But I think Danielle Hunter, man, that's somebody that as we continue to kind of go through the prospects of what would be a big target for the Detroit Lions, Danielle Hunter just keeps continuing to be that guy that we're like, you know what, he could really add an element and some help that we haven't seen, especially for Aiden Hutchinson, since kind of James Houston and Aiden were kind of doing their thing. That's what I want to see, man. If the Lions can find some way to add a guy like that to this roster, that's the type of guy I think you go out there and you make a splash for. Because you're right, man. He has been kind of largely – looks like he's been setting up things so far so he can be able to pay the guys he's drafted. But at some point in time, especially if your team is this close to the Super Bowl, you kind of want to see him get those players that can put them over the top, over the edge right now.
Well, let's be honest. He was in salary cap hell when he got here, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we were playing Trey Flowers, elite money, and getting zero production out of him. So sometimes that takes years to get in line. So he can't spend his ignorant money yet because we had to pay for other people's mistakes leading up into this point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, your good friends Quinn and Patricia.
The Patriot way.
You talking about the smartest guys in the room?
And Quinn Tricia.
Oh, and that's the thing. Like, I always point to it. We always had guys that thought they were the smartest guys in the room. Now we actually have the smartest guys in the room. And I think it's an adjustment for our fans. And it's an adjustment for me knowing, man, I didn't really love that Brad Holmes move. But he's smarter than me, so this will probably work out. It's taking a long time to adjust to that instead of being like, Mike Williams, why are we drafting Mike Williams? He's going to be a bust, and then he's a bust. Eric Ebron, we don't need a tight end. Why the hell we drafted Eric Ebron? Bust. Brandon Pettigrew to go with Brandon. Why am I doing Pettigrew like Jelani Tavai, Titus Young? Ryan Broyles.
Not working.
I could go on and on. Who the hell were these guys? ESPN didn't even have highlights of them when we drafted.
Ryan Broyles is nice in Oklahoma.
He was amazing, Biletnikoff award winner, but then he tore his leg off, and that kind of impacts your game.
This is true.
This is kind of.
Stick is still not forgotten these players in the past.
No, I'm scarred for life. I love Ryan Broyles.
Yeah, no, I think one of the big moves for me is he definitely is, man. He actually is smart in the field of real estate. I think he's doing real estate or financial investing, one of the two.
Javid Best ended up running track for Bahamas.
I feel like with the Javid Best situation, like we knew going in. Yeah. Like you knew at Cal he had concussion headaches and he had concussion issues at Cal. Like they kept him out of games, similar to Terrell Davis at Georgia, and you still pull that trigger. And
that concussion at Cal was like one of the first
eye-opening
time when you just see a guy like dead-eyed and still, like his arms were still. And it's like, why don't we take that guy? He's fast. Guys, that's not how this works.
I think the one for me is when 2017 I was doing a radio show and we were doing a pre-draft and I wanted Dalvin Cook. I thought it was a perfect time for the Detroit Lions to get a running back. I thought that's what they need. That could be a helping piece for them. You saw what he did his first 5 years in the NFL, even coming off surgery year 2. When they drafted Gerard Davis, I said, this team don't want to win.
Gerard Davis.
And then brought him back. And that was Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell brought him back.
Yeah, they brought him back as a practice squad player.
I know.
To me, that's worth the risk, right? Hey, this guy was a top-end draft pick. Maybe he's got something less in the tank.
Had some good buzz coming out of New York, too, at the time, the Jets.
Yeah. But Warren Sharp has a mock draft going on, and he's got the Lions taking Kamari Lassiter at number 29, the cornerback out of Georgia. And that's where a lot of people feel that the Lions are going to go, that cornerback position. You think Brad Holmes is going to do the obvious choice? Or do you think he's going to do Brad Holmes and take who's on his playbook?
I think I think a mixture of both. I think the obvious choice is a defensive back or an interior defensive lineman. So I think that's the obvious choice, and I think he will take one of those guys. Now, how is he going to do it? How is he going to get to it? What guy it's going to be? I don't know, because I don't know which one of these players fits the Brad Holmes, the Dan Campbell mindset.
Isn't that weird?
Now that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
100%. Like, now that's what it is, but you've seen it work. You've seen it have success. I mean, you had two guys that were question marks, if you will, and then both of them lived up to be up for Player of the Year, rookie Player of the Year, talking about Sam Laporta and talking about Jahmyr Gibbs. So with that kind of with that type of track record, with that type of trust in Brad Holmes, I'm now looking for which one of these guys is a Brad Holmes guy, not which one of these guys won the Jim Thorpe or won the Biletnikoff or is number one in this or that. Which one of these guys do I think fits? Which one of these is a leader? Which one's a team guy? Which one is consistent? What does his stats look like his freshman year to his senior year or junior year? I think that's what you're starting to look at in players, is the consistency and the leadership.
Yeah, that's what he said as well in his press conference, was that they're looking for they're intentional with the type of players they want. They're identifying the type of guy that they're going to be in the locker room and on the field is not necessarily what all the measurables say and what everybody else is going to look at, but it's going to be the guy that they know can fit the style that they're going to play, as well as the type of mentality they want them to have.
That's what makes it so interesting. You wish you were in the Lions war room, right?
Yeah.
To know, like, okay, here's who's on their board, and here's who's the NFL's board.
Here's my thing. You asked about Kamari Lassiter. Now, I didn't even pull his stats up. I know he was a really good DB. I think 2 years ago he made first team All SEC. He made it as well this year. All American, I think, 2 years ago. If I'm Brad Holmes, and this is going against a guy that wanted Jalen Carter. This is going against a guy that liked Nakobe Dean 2 years ago. This is going against a guy who, I looked at Lewis Seen in that second round, who ended up getting drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, a great safety from the national championship back-to-back team. It doesn't seem like the Georgia players are working out in the NFL, whether it's off the field, whether it's some little, whether it's Jalen Carter, whether it's Lewis Seen not working out, whether it's Nakobe Dean's injury with them, whether it's George Pickens' attitude with the Steelers. Like, I'm looking at, these are all products of the same team, same coaching staff right now. And I don't have anything against Kamari Lassiter, but if I'm putting it against what's happened with the Georgia players in the last 2 years, I don't think I want a Georgia player.
That's a good point.
Is this your way of saying that Michigan has put the most players in the NFL and they do pretty well?
First of all, no.
It's true. These are facts.
This is true. But I wasn't saying that, and I'm not dogging Georgia. I mean, I spent 5 years of my life down the road from Athens and Lithonia, so shout out to UGA. But if I'm just looking at it from a Brad Holmes standpoint, and he's building off certain type of men, certain type of character, they come from a place that doesn't seem to have, discipline and leadership. And although they win championships, off the field, they're a mess. And I think some of that stuff is carrying to the NFL. I don't know if Kamari Lassiter's on my radar.
Yeah, and you look at Brad Holmes' draft picks, and they're from all over the place. You got some USC.
A lot of Big Ten guys.
You got Big Ten guys
Alabama,
in there.
Yeah.
Well, Big Ten football is kind of Dan Campbell football, right?
This is
Punch
true.
you in the mouth. We're gonna play the right way. 4 quarters.
Yeah,
like,
team.
Toughness, grit. SEC's more flash, and that's part of it.
Flash and talent.
Yeah,
like 100%.
Nothing wrong with that, because it's not like he didn't go get SEC guys. Paschal's an SEC guy out of Kentucky, not the elite program, but if you can compete at Kentucky, you should be able to compete at this level. Jamison Williams, Alabama guy.
Kentucky went through like a 4-year period where they won 10 games or more, and then they went to 9 games as well. So Kentucky definitely not Alabama, not Georgia, but they were better than Florida, which sounds crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
What are we doing, Pete? Security? This is what we need, a lockdown
do you feel secure?
cornerback.
Oh,
we should draft Guardian Alarm at the 29th
Stamp
overall pick. That's what Brad Holmes is going to do. Guardian Alarm since 1930. They've been keeping people out your house, and all you got to do is call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That is 1-800-STAY-OUT. They're your local security experts.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz right here on the Woodward Sports Network and Fox2Detroit.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. I guess I'm on the desk. Nobody's filling in for Maz. But do you have Maz cam up and running? Oh, man, because people been complaining we can't see Alyssa cutting hair. We got
to get that set up for him.
Yeah, just
hang on.
Just show them what's going on in the background.
Here we go. Hang on.
Oh, the slow turn. Oh, yeah.
Slow turn.
That's you, Pete. Nobody wants to see you, Pete.
Hey, man, get off you.
Come on.
Somebody trying to look at that.
Look at this guy.
No one's trying to look at that. You went too far.
No. We're good.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
There you go. There's Alyssa.
Okay.
Now she's going to wash hair. There you go. So there you go. That's the Maz cam.
That's what's going on with the Maz cam. You took the long route.
I had to. There you
just
go.
want to see yourself in there. That's all that was. You want to see yourself.
Slowly pans himself.
See that smooth face.
This guy.
That's me. He did that on purpose. See, he did it again. This guy.
Detroit's going to get a new landmark. Did you guys see that?
I did not.
A Pete Spivak statue?
Hell no.
That's right, baby.
With
Put that
glasses.
right in the bathroom.
Let's throw it up there. This is not like a mock rendering, but they said Detroit's going to get a new landmark that looks kind of like the Hollywood sign. It's just going to say Detroit.
Yeah, that's right. Let me get that for you guys.
Yeah.
I did hear about that.
Did they say where it was going to be, Kool-Aid?
I didn't see.
Okay.
Well, was it around 94, actually?
Along
yeah,
94.
Yeah.
So you wonder if it's going to be by the big tire.
Yeah, and coming down from the airport.
Yeah, and if you remember when the Super Bowl was here, they built that stupid bridge that
on Telegraph
with the football shapes in it.
I
like this better than that.
It's just a matter of where to put this. Like in turn, I heard of 94, but like, where's the hill? Where are you gonna set it, and how does it look? Because it could look cool. I mean, like, you gotta have something when you land at the airport. You're on 94. You're heading down to Detroit. You're taking that 94 in. So, something would be cool. Just make it look right. Like I hate when you get an idea and you yourself, it's like reading a book. When you read a book, you fantasize what the book is about. You envision what you're reading, what it looks like, what the characters are, what the story looks like.
Right.
But then when you get it, you're like, I don't know about that bridge. That wasn't it. That's not what I had in my vision for what the city is. So as long as it's something that we see before time and it comes to look exactly like it does, I'm cool with it. It's like LCA. Like, we were promised a certain thing on top of LCA, and that never happened, so I don't want to bring up.
Well, the renderings look a little bit different, and that's the difference between an architect and an engineer.
No LED lights.
An architect will design it to look awesome, and engineers like, that's not even possible anymore.
It's BS.
Yeah, that's
true.
We can't build this. But over-under on how soon that Big D gets stolen.
6
Someone's going to try to steal that.
3 months.
3 months?
3 months.
It's going to be gone before the draft. Like someone's going to have that in their backyard.
Nah, yeah,
you know, why are you laughing, Pete? You know it's going to happen.
Because that's funny. You're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're right. I'm laughing at it.
Detroit is a place where like anything can happen. Look, and I know we give our city a lot of love, because especially when people tear us down. But if you're from Detroit, if you're from there, you can talk about your city. I remember going to the auto show, it was 2008 or 9, I think last time I ever went. And they had this new Jaguar. It was a chrome Jaguar. It was like all chrome. It was a concept car. Well, it came up missing. One of one in the world, and it came up missing. They found it, needless to say, but only in Detroit where you still a one-of-one car.
Yeah, and I said it when the bird scooters came here. Like, you know how many of these are going to wind up in the Detroit River? And you know how many of those wound up in the Detroit River? Just people just taking them and throwing them in there when they were done with them.
What's wrong with us, man?
You know,
it's not us, but it's us.
It's us.
It is. This is us.
But it's as long as it's harmless, right? but that's what makes it. That's what makes it funny.
This is true.
But yeah, if there's another landmark though that you would want this city to have besides the big Detroit sign, because the one thing I don't love about it is we ain't trying to be Hollywood, right?
Right.
Like we don't want the Hollywood sign. We want something that's specific to Detroit. Like, are they going to throw up the English D? Yeah, we got the fist.
Got the fist. You got the city, the spirit of Detroit.
Yep.
We have those two things. We used to have the Barry Sanders. That got taken down. That was a big monument. But in terms of a mark.
Oh, the whale painting. You know?
Yeah, the whale painting.
Yeah, Barry Sanders and Eiserman used to be up there, man.
What?
Different times.
They used to count that. Used to track the yards. Man, and then the next one was like to get the can. Like, that was like reason to go downtown.
But if you were welcoming outsiders to Detroit, what do you think you'd throw up there? I know I'm kind of just springing this question on you.
No, that's fine. You said Old English D. I mean, that's been with us since the 1800s.
Right.
So, it's a good one, man. Like we're hockey town, but
the RoboCop statue, Mitten Maid said.
I love it. I love it.
There was talks of it. Whatever happened to that? They never put that up?
OCP shut that down. It's one of my favorite movies growing up. First time I saw a DVD player.
What about you?
I always thought, with regard to that RoboCop statue, get everybody who's represented Detroit on some big level, like Martin, RoboCop.
Okay. A mural? Is this
almost like kind of a conglomerate of these statues, kind of at one spot? I thought that would have been really, really cool.
Carve out a Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
I thought that
Eddie Murphy.
Dope. Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
Beverly Hills Cop.
That's what in the jacket, with the hat. Yeah, I definitely would have did something like that. But
you gotta do Gil Hill.
Can my man Isaiah Thomas get a statue, please?
Oh,
the Zeke statue would be sweet.
It's especially for Zeke. Like, this is why I say Zeke deserves a statue. Not only did he, MVP and then 2 championships here in Detroit, and the hardest time in the NBA. Well, when we were growing up, at least it was. He's always backed Detroit. Like, he's always lobbied for Detroit. He's never said a bad thing about it. What are you about to say?
Well, let's be honest. Chicago abandoned him. He was the best basketball player to come out of Chicago.
And then they got Michael Jordan.
Then they got Michael Jordan. They acted like Zeke didn't even belong in the suburbs of Chicago anymore, when he is the actual Chicago ball player.
Right.
And
Zeke ain't never won a world championship for Chicago.
Can you imagine not getting that love when you go home after being the greatest there? Like, that's gotta sting, man. And so it's like, fine, these guys accepted me. I'm gonna roll with Detroit.
I think it was part of that too, but I think that just made it easier. I think Detroit, like, he was bought into like the Bad Boys era, losing to the Lakers, winning with the Pistons, and then the standing course. So he's always showed love. To your point, that was sucking. And also, his people showed Jordan around. That's what makes the thing so crazy. Is he stayed at Zeke's house, stayed with his parents, kind of like finding out the ropes of Chicago.
Chicago loved him till they didn't. Right?
Hey.
They loved his hard-nosed tenacity. It represented the city until it went up against Jordan, and they were like, "Oh, this guy's arrogant." And it's like, no, man, he was the best thing to come out of Chicago. I mean, you could argue still to this day.
Championships matter.
You got him.
Him and Derrick Rose, but championships matter because Zeke and the Pistons, they get more love than George Gervin does. George Gervin's from here.
Yeah.
George Gervin didn't win no championships.
Nice, man. Played at Eastern Michigan University. How about a waving Kwame Kilpatrick statue?
Now, hold on.
But someone put this, the
He's
Blade
gotta be-
Icewood. How about the Kwame doing the Blade
Oh,
Icewood?
okay.
Coming down 94.
Boss up. Yeah, if you got Kwame waving, he will have to be waving as you're going 94 West because he's waving you out of Detroit. He's waving you out of Detroit.
He's got a pocket full of money. He's like waving it at you.
Good for Kwame, though. Kwame's made a comeback. He's doing his thing. I think he's preaching now. He's out of jail. He looks clean. So, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, we'll say this. You got to give Kwame Kilpatrick credit for the Riverwalk.
This is true.
You can say what you want about him, but he's the guy that initiated the Riverwalk. Everything else is also true, but the Riverwalk is pretty damn awesome. I think it's the longest Riverwalk in the country. You know, it's definitely given us something to do in the summer in Detroit.
Sold the tunnel.
Yeah,
he sold the tunnel.
The Flint Tropics. We could have a tattoo or a statue for the Flint Tropics.
I mean, you can put up a Michigan trophy, with that national championship. I'm just saying.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just saying.
Welcome to the home of the national champions.
Hey, put a little something.
Like they do for high schools in small towns. Like have a little plaque when you drive into the city.
What was it? Little Giants, Urbana, home of
yes,
home of the coach, Ed O'Neill. I can't think of his name.
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
Hey man, one of the greatest players of all time, man.
What a great movie Little Giants was.
My favorite part of that movie, I say it all the time. My favorite part is Spike's dad. Spike's dad said, you know, the secret is, man, at night I rub his hamstrings with goat milk.
And you all know that kid,
100%.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Whose dad is? It's funny because that was one dad per, one team back in the day. Now that's probably every dad on these teams, whether it's football, baseball, hockey, basketball, golf, tennis. Like every parent. It's not even dads anymore. It's parents, plural, are like that.
Yeah, it's over the top.
It's a great movie,
the training that these high school kids do is so next level now compared to what we did growing up.
You know who's in that movie? Remember they had the NFL guys in the movie, and one of them was Bruce Smith. Yeah, he's like, he's doing this. I watched Four Falls in Buffalo. Again, why I watched that depressing thing, I'll never know. But football, I love it, especially the old school. They made 4 Super Bowls in a row and lost all 4 of them. Scott Norwood misses the kick, obviously, the first one. Jim Kelly gets hurt in the second one. The third one, they get blitzed. And the fourth one, they get blitzed.
That's why the San Francisco 49ers are the Buffalo Bills of our generation. I mean, they're getting there. They just can't seem to get the job done, and it's gonna Marv Levy was a great coach.
He was 4 Super Bowls.
He's not put on a pedestal though because he got to 4 Super Bowls. He didn't win them.
And this is a big thing I think they said at the end of the doc that they struggle with is being a loser, being called losers because they're the butt of every joke. People consider them losers unless you win the big game. Like I can't in good grace call them losers, although they lost 4 in a row. I just can't.
That's the thing.
They won more games in the 90s than anybody else. They won more games in that stretch than anybody else. They won 4 AFC championships, and that's kind of what Kyle Shanahan was trying to allude to, although nobody's listening after you do it for the 3rd time. Maybe let somebody else say it. It's a tough question.
It's so weird how success is gauged differently.
Yeah.
Because being a Lions fan, never getting to a Super Bowl in my entire lifetime, if you told me you make 4, I'd be so happy. I'd expect to win 1, but it's like people. I gave Lindsey Hunter a lot of crap after San Francisco lost, and I still give him crap, trolling him by calling him the Bills.
We called him, remember?
Yeah, you got to give Lindsey Hunter crap. But I mean, honestly, getting there is an achievement. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's not a loser mentality, but getting to those championships are so tough, and to get to 4 and not win it, I'd rather lose in the NFC Championship like the Lions did this year than get to the Super Bowl and lose like the 49ers did.
Let me ask your opinion on this. You obviously know the very first Super Bowl that they're a part of, it was the infamous wide right. Scott Norwood lines up, he pushes it out 100%, Ray Finkel style. He pushes it to the right. Next year he comes back, he makes and it makes a big field goal for them to actually win the AFC Championship against the Broncos, and they go to the Super Bowl. So he kind of semi-redeemed himself, not fully. Would Detroit be like Buffalo in this sense? After they lost the Super Bowl, both of those 2 years that Scott Norwood was on the team, the city of Buffalo, so just kind to their team and happy that they got there.
Yeah.
Don't you know they actually cheered for Scott Norwood to come to the podium during this 30,000 pep rally, cheered for him. He said, I'm sorry. He said, we'll be back next year. And it was all Scott Norwood, Scott Norwood.
Yep.
I don't see Detroit like that.
I don't know. If Jared Goff threw a pick six to end it this year, and people were chanting Jared Goff all season, he still would have been a hero at the end.
Yeah, that's different. But you're talking about the Super Bowl, if you miss a field goal, I'm not calling it a chip shot because we've seen kickers miss a lot of kicks nowadays, but push a kick, I don't know if I see Detroiters downtown in Harts Plaza talking about some Mick Badgley, or whoever the hell's kicking for the Lions now.
Yeah, whoever. We need a kicker, damn it. Pete, where are we going?
We're going to talk about your pet.
Hey.
I know you have a dog.
Woodward the pup, the most wonderful thing on the planet.
There you go. Woodward the pup? That's awesome. Yeah. Woodward is his name.
Adopted
I love
him
that.
right here on this in this network.
Well, give Woodward the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of online and big box realtors with one major difference. Family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts there to help you. Same day, local, curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best, especially Woodward. www.premierpetsupply.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Well, football season is officially over. Boo. And spring training, though, is right around the corner. Yay. However, Jack Labrador is 24/7, 365 days a year. Learn how to play now on your phone at jacklabrador.gg. 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing 3-point play. And remember that once you go Jack, you never go back. Go to jacklabrador.gg for more information.
I don't think the season ever started, but
once you go Jack, you never go back.
You never go back, baby.
You guys are terrible.
I didn't write the script. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. We are live right here on Woodward Sports and Fox2Detroit.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. Braylon Edwards is here. Pete Spivak, the one, the only Detroit Kool-Aid.
Hey, what up, though?
You know Maz would be mad if we didn't do Around the NFL. You guys want to hit some quick topics real quick, go around the horn, answer them, and we'll keep it rolling?
I'm always good for the quick hit.
All right. NFL teams to franchise tag players. Who are we looking at getting franchised? And, you know, I heard the Lions have not franchise tagged anybody since Ziggy Ansah.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Very true.
But, you know, who the hell would
Who
they
would
franchise?
you franchise? I think
Jared Goff after this year is worth franchising to me.
It's true. It's one of those things where do you franchise him to reward him? Because essentially, you know, if he's $33 million this year, if you franchise him, I think it goes to roughly 47, 48. So, you know, you're giving him extra, you know, $14 million, $15 million based on the success that he's had in this, 3 but really 2-year run. So, yeah, I would be for that.
All right. Kool-Aid, anybody who want to franchise?
I keep feeling like Jared Goff might have to be that guy. I'm one of those people who believe if you wait until next year to try and pay him, then that contract can get pretty hefty, especially if they punch their way into the Super Bowl.
What about you, Pete?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Jared Goff. You got to solidify him as 29. I think he's got at least 4 more years ahead of him. I think he's the guy you got to secure.
I just don't think it'd be fair to anybody else. I think Penei Sewell is going into year 4. I think for him, you know, it's about time for him to get paid. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy that's done so much on the field. That's why you've been hearing about this 3-year extension, upwards of $75 million, because of what he's become for that offense, because of what he's become for the team as a leader and a face, if you will. So I don't think you deserve to franchise those guys. I don't think there's really anybody else that you might do that with.
Well, the good news is Brad Holmes has built this roster where you don't have to worry about that right now.
Yeah,
there's not a lot
true.
of good guys that are on expiring deals this year. It's Jared Goff coming into the last year of his contract, and that's pretty much it right now as far as guys you want to franchise down the road. Speaking of franchising, JJ for the Vikings. The Vikings are hesitant to sign him. I think he's also hesitant to sign with the Vikings because he doesn't know who the hell is going to be throwing him the ball. Do you think they franchise, or do you think they pay this man all the monies?
It's going to be an interesting question. It's going to be tough. I mean, you look at the NFL, the way in which you're going, you pretty much got to have 2 stud wide receivers to win at this level. They have Jordan Addison out of USC. They have JJ. I'm looking at Justin Jefferson. If you pay him a ton of money and then you mess around and bring back Kirk Cousins for 2 years 45 that he's, or 2 years 90, which he's asked for, which I think is stupid because he just tore his Achilles and he's almost 38 years old. Like, who else can you pay on that team if you're the Minnesota Vikings? And but he's one of those guys, man. He is that dude at what he does, even in the hamstring injury last year. So
where does he go if he doesn't stay in Minnesota? I mean, anybody's going to want him, but who's going to fit him in the offense, and who the hell's going to pay him?
The good thing is they don't have to worry about that to the following season, but it happens. I mean, teams need those big play wide receivers. They need those explosive guys. You look at what the Miami Dolphins did. They went and got Tyreek Hill because they believed in what he could do for their team. And look at what that offense is when he's out there. You look at the Raiders, although they're not that good. 2 years ago, Devontae Adams still had 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. You know, when he had a
car though, and
when he had a quarterback. 100%.
And now they're getting rid of Garoppolo too because he's suspended for his PEDs.
What, Jimmy G out here?
Yeah. Arizona, Pete, Arizona.
Yeah, that's what I think.
If they don't get Marvin Harrison,
they like they like big name wide receivers down there, especially late in their career.
Bidwell doesn't like to pay though.
That is true. Well, they paid Kyler Murray so much damn money too.
But that's quarterback.
Yeah,
everybody's paying.
JJ McCarthy rated second best QB for NFC teams. What
does that even mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that right? Rumor is a team in the NFC that has JJ McCarthy rated as their second best QB in the draft. Another quote from an NFL executive, I think there's a significant drop-off in the QB class, but most around the league think that after the 4th quarterback, not the 3rd, Williams, Mays, Daniel, McCarthy are heads and shoulders better than prospects in that group of guys.
So Ryan Ermanni, who everyone knows, JJ is his favorite player in Michigan history. He's a guy that Ryan thinks is the number 1 quarterback in this draft. And he constantly says that when it's all said and done, JJ will be the best quarterback now when you look at years to come. I think there is some truth to that I think JJ needs some time to become that quarterback. But one thing I can say, there is a drop-off when you watch Drake May. Drake May wasn't necessarily electric this year. You look at Caleb Williams, he didn't have enough.
I am not a Caleb Williams fan.
Neither is Ryan. That's why we're having this conversation. I think if he gets with the right team, the right situation, you look at the Raiders, I don't think that's the right one. Even though they're picking 11, they're early, it's the Raiders. They don't have a backup quarterback that I think can really guide him along the way. I think the Los Angeles Rams, they're pick 19. Matt Stafford kind of nearing the end of his deal out there, a guy that can help cultivate JJ. But I think he's a guy will test well. He's a guy that's going to interview well, and he's a guy that he's going to knock your socks off at the combine. So I think he will play himself into an interesting position. And we never know with these things. Look at 2020 draft, all the different quarterbacks. You see Trey Lance come out of nowhere and go 2nd overall. It's a third quarterback. Zach Wilson and the Jets, they pick up him. Exactly. So you never know what's going to happen.
Drafted Sam Darnold.
Mark Sanchez. Shout out to Mark.
Sanchez and when you look back at the Stafford draft, Stafford was the better quarterback and the right pick for the Lions. Even though it never got him anywhere,
he was the guy.
That was the right pick.
Yeah.
I mean, here's what I hate: we're leaving guys like Michael Penix off this list and Bo Nix, to me, which are better quarterbacks than any of those guys we just listed. Potential wise, May's got it, Potential-wise, Williams has it. But proven and good, when I watched Penix and Bo Nix go at it this season, it was like those guys are professional quarterbacks coming out.
It was a lot of fun to watch those guys go at it, but, you look at Bo Nix coming out of Auburn 10 years ago, and you look at Michael Penix coming out of Indiana about 6 years ago. You just look at when everything was right in the Pac-12 where they don't necessarily get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Like, they can sit there and pick you apart. Meanwhile, in the NFL, I don't think it's going to be that easy. And I saw that firsthand with Michael Penix in the NFL in the national championship. I was at that game stick and I was watching Michael Penix. He was missing throw after throw after throw when he got some of that different type of NFL type. The Michigan, they run an NFL system on defense. When they were sending those blitz at him, when they were sending those stunts, when they were giving him different looks, he was a guy that was missing some easy throws. He seemed to be off his kilter, and I think that's where people see the difference in him and the potential. I think that's where he's already 26, comes into play with the potential of a younger quarterback.
But I love guys that can go to multiple spots and be successful.
It's true.
It just shows winners win. Right?
He almost beat Ohio State.
Look at Jalen Hurts. Winners win. Right?
This is true.
Bo Nix, winners win. He goes to a place, they get better, and those are the types of things that don't show up on stat sheets.
Isn't it crazy that Justin Herbert played against Bo Nix in college?
Bo Nix has been in college since I was like 7 years old, I feel. Jags likely to move on from Calvin Ridley. I would love this guy in a Lions uniform. You're talking about replacing, the guy that kind of dropped some passes in the big game, Josh Reynolds. I love Reynolds, what he brought to the team. Not going to bash him too much. He helped us get there. But Kelvin Ridley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kelvin Ridley, Jameson Williams, Gibbs and Montgomery with Laporta. We're talking fantasy stuff.
You're talking about SEC Big Ten right there. I would love Calvin Ridley. I think he's a Brad Holmes guy, and everybody cracks the jokes about, well, he's a Lions guy because Jameson got caught with gambling as well. With that joke aside, I think you're looking at a guy. You saw his open letter that he wrote when he came back from that situation. He's played. He's been a guy that they can depend on, on and off the field. I think he's got it's electric, man. He can run good routes. He has good hands. He gets in the end zone as well as makes the underneath plays. So you mix him in there. You already have two number ones. Amon-Ra has made himself a number one in this NFL, an all-pro rideout, and Jameson Williams will be a number one. I think Calvin really fits in well with the dynamic, and he could be that third receiver in there.
Can you imagine having J-Mo to the right, Ridley to the left,
Sam Laporta on the inside,
and Amon-Ra in the slot?
And don't forget Jameer and Dave Montgomery in the backfield.
It's over.
Yeah,
it's over, right? There's no way to defend that attack.
That's where I want Brad Holmes to make a move. I want Brad Holmes, because the offense was very good in the first half of the NFC Championship. They were very good all year. They led the league in touchdowns with 65. But I want him to assess the film, and I want him to really look, where do you need somebody? Where can we make a move at? Like, Calvin really would be a move that I'd say, you know what? These guys are serious. I understand what this move is for. It's to help everybody out. It's a key piece that fits. I want to see that mindset from Brad Holmes. Like, where do we need to have somebody? And you actually look and say, oh, shoot, they got this guy. Now, this makes sense to what I believe the goal should be.
To me, that's really the only thing on the offense they got to address, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need your running back. You don't need a quarterback. Line, you got to secure a couple of guys that could be leaving. But at the end of the day, the line's good.
Yeah.
You don't need a tight end.
No.
You have J-Mo. You have St. Brown. You don't need to replace those guys.
Got a quarterback.
If you have that one X factor that could be the game changer, and it's over.
One wide receiver, because this is the big thing I will say. I want to start seeing some plays happen for the Lions down the field with wideouts. Like, now, down the field, you'll see Dave Montgomery run for a 77-yard touchdown. Yep. You've seen 80-yard touchdown. You've seen Jameer Gibbs, big plays. You've seen Sam Laporta with big trick plays. but you haven't seen a wide receiver go down the field for more than 40 yards, more than 35 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets a lot of his underneath, and he breaks tackles and gets to the sideline. But I want to see some guys catch passes 40 yards down the field and turn to 60-yard plays, 70-yard plays. That's why I think you can add Ridley, because then Ridley and Jameson Williams had that kind of ability.
The Jared Goff haters will say it's because he can't throw it down there. Do you believe that?
There's some truth in that.
Okay.
There's some truth in that, but not on the indoor. Like, this is an indoor team. We got 9 home games that are all indoor next year, so he can get the ball down the field. You see him. It's about anticipation, not trying to throw your arm out of socket. Now, are we talking outdoors in the winter when the wind's whistling off Lake Erie in Cleveland? That might be different. that might be a little different.
All right, that's Around the NFL. Pete, where do we got to go next? Around to Mr. Kool-Aid to tell us about $10 a month.
Yeah, listen, man. Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and
No
we
judgment.
mean anyone can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there is a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. Just visit your local Planet Fitness today or visit them online at planetfitness.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
You know what happens when you put in 50 years of great business. You expand and give the people what they want. Great service everywhere that you go, whether you're talking Chevy, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, Les Stanford has it for you. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today or the one on Woodward Ave just south of 9 Mile. LesStanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet.
Together,
let's drive.
Let's drive.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. This is our last segment of the day. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. Braylon Edwards, always good to do a show with you.
Same, man.
We have Kool-Aid and, of course, Pete Spivak.
Can you believe we've been doing this now? I'd say it's 4 calendar years, but 3 years in total. Because 21, 22,
You've been on 3 years?
24. Now, I said we in terms of me and you being able to do it together. Yes, you've been on 5 and 6 total.
Yeah, well, I remember you were one of the first people we reached out to come do a podcast, and you were
it's like
you were living in Ann Arbor at the time or something.
I was.
Yeah, and it was a little too far of a drive for you to get here.
Yeah, because you guys had reached out. I want to say October of 2020. You guys reached out to me, and it was like COVID was going on, or ending, or whatever your phase is for that version of COVID.
It was COVID.
There you go. It was COVID, and I was living in Ann Arbor. It was just a long drive, and then I kind of moved back to my crib in West Bloomfield and just kind of watched what you did and watched what the show was doing. I said, man, I think now is the time to be a part of it, man. I saw it, I loved it, and here we are.
See, you did the Brad Holmes. You waited until it was built, and it was like, I'm going to be the final piece. I'm not going to spend that free agent money early.
Right.
I'm going to wait till there's actually a product, then You did the smart thing, man.
True. I was also honest. I think at that point I got into a phase in my life where I was becoming more honest with decisions, not just saying yes because the decision. To your point, because I know me, I'm like, coming from Ann Arbor to Birmingham every day and then driving back. There'd be some days where I'm like, I'm just working from the house.
Yeah, you could have done the Joik Bell. You could have done the Joik and just show up whatever the hell you want.
Shout out to Joik.
Order fish around and have them go get you food and park your car for you.
The Tesla.
The Joik Bell era was something special.
It was fun.
Love having Joik around here. Yeah, shout out to Joik Bell. And
100.
Everybody on the west side of
it's charities and does a lot of amazing work back over in so
did you see this? The Flyers dressed as Rocky getting off the bus.
This
is probably this is my favorite get off the bus moment since the camouflage at the U in the 80s.
Okay.
Even though they lost that game, but they
got cheated.
But whatever.
They got cheated.
When they got off the bus in those camouflage, it was like, oh, that's sweet. When the Flyers get off, look at all like Rocky. It was a beautiful moment in sports history, I feel.
Rest in peace to Carl Weathers, who played Apollo. We know in those movies, died 2 weeks ago. But this is dope. Like Rocky's always been my favorite, version of any movies. I love how they came in, no bags, no nothing, just came in with the unis on and stuff already. This is dope. This is fire. You also can tell that look, the team put this together. They bought all the unis, they got all the sizes, they got all the shoes. All the guys had to do was put them on. This is probably my favorite ever. My close second, I think the Jets 2 years ago, 10 of those guys did Mighty Ducks jerseys from the movie. They all did it from the movie. That was pretty cool. But that right there, that's dope.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome when they got off the bus like that. Looking so cool. Then what else we got to go to? Tiger spring training videos. Pitchers and catchers have reported. I got the Woodward baseball shirt
you out here
now.
with the WSN baseball on.
Look at this.
We wanted to strengthen the pitching side of the ball. We felt like we added significant pieces to both the rotation, with Jack and Kenta, and to the bullpen with Chafin and Shelby. You guys are going to see when we start getting on the mound.
One pitcher
there's
like
a lot
Spencer
of stuff in this pitching staff, and there's going to be a lot of competition for the spots.
There you go, a little hype video.
That's one thing the Detroit Tigers seem to do well is they seem to have young pitchers. They bring them in the bullpen. They get them right. Now it seems like the pitchers may leave and go other places, but it seems like they do have the knack for picking up pitchers. I think Sky Harris is going to be very
They used a 1990s camera on this. Look at the video.
It looks like just a filter you throw on nowadays, doesn't it?
It's the cool thing to do now, man. I love it. No, there he is. It's Big Spence.
There you go. But you know what? You need a guy that looks like that to be a successful baseball team.
Yeah, you do.
You saw it with Kenny Powers. Yeah, you saw it with Todd Jones back in the day.
Okay.
You need those guys that are just characters on baseball teams. Because baseball players are just animals.
There's maulers and brawlers.
They're strange dudes.
Dip everywhere.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're just strange dudes.
One of my favorite things to watch on YouTube when I'm bored is, and I don't know why I watch it so many times, maybe I like the Phillies in the early 90s, but the Philly mullets, you got to watch when John Kruk goes into the locker room and he reenacts what everybody was doing, like each locker, each space, each part of the weight room, each part of in the training room. He's talking about, the guy Lenny was right here. He says just a ton of dip just everywhere, spit everywhere. He's talking about all the guys on the team. He said, I don't know why those guys were lifting weights after practice. I was drinking a beer, enjoying a cigarette.
That's back when athletes just didn't train. They worked in the coal mines during the day and then they'd show up and hit 400 at night. Drunk, smoking heaters in the dugout,
and then go to a real job after the season was over with.
Yeah, because
selling cars. Yeah, most guys sold cars, and especially in the NFL, most guys sold cars in the off season.
Melfar, superstar,
and that's how you build. That's how you build a brand. That's how you build wealth up, man.
Tigers projected. Vegas has them at 77 wins this year.
One less than last year. 78.
They won 78 last year. There's a look at the roster. Some unfamiliar names on there. I like what Harris has been doing. It's kind of what Dave Dombrowski used to do, acquire a bunch of young talent, then hopefully you pimp them out and bring in some actual athletes. But what do you think? Over under 77 for the Tigers?
I think they go over, man. And maybe I'm just a believer because of what I've seen with the Detroit Lions. Maybe I believe in the Iser plan and what the Red Wings have done so far this year, and they got better last year. I think this is the year for Detroit sports to really kind of come back. The Pistons, now we'll figure that out when we cross that bridge. But I definitely think you're seeing it from the Tigers. I think you're seeing it from the Red Wings. And this is also, let's also keep this in perspective. It's the division they're in. The AL Central has been winnable for them each of the last 3 seasons, and they haven't won it. I think the White Sox, they're slouches in the division. You look at what they can do. I think the I think the Tigers win this year. I'm telling you, man. You saw Spencer Torkelson take that. Hey, look, you saw Spencer Torkelson take that jump last year. 32 home runs. I think he's a guy that can get up to 40, 45 home runs. I think you look at Casey Myers coming back this year. He's ready. His arm is locked and loaded and ready to play. I mean, it's you get Cole Keith is another player that they paid in the offseason, which is a very rare thing to do.
Terrence Scoobel, Cy Young candidate in my opinion.
I'm telling you, man. I believe in this team, man. Don't call me a Detroit homer. I've actually paid attention, and I think they definitely win more than 77, but I think they win in division.
And Maz says that they were 35-17 against the Central last year, so they're really in position.
There you go. I mean, it's all about what the Guardians now do.
The Guardians, what a horrible name.
And they had to steal that name. That name was like their...
yeah, they had to like buy it off like a dodgeball team or something. Like, it was the dumbest thing you've ever heard in your life.
I was going to say arena team. That's even funnier. It's like, excuse me, Global Gym, can I have that name?
Yeah, exactly.
Purple Cobras.
They come out with
they got all type of lasers and asers and razors. That movie's a classic. That's the last time I think. That's the last time Ben Stiller was elite funny.
That was a great movie.
Because he went the way of serious, which I understand. That's what most comedians do.
Got to show depth.
You do. And I think comedians are the best actors because they all eventually kind of go to that route. But Ben Stiller in that movie, because he had played that character before. That was nothing more than Perkins from the Heavyweights.
Right.
It was the same character, Tony Perkins.
Dan Wood put in the chat, plus 650 if you bet the Tigers first and the Twins second in the division right now. So there's some value. There's some value if you want to go get it. Everybody complaining that we didn't talk a lot of Red Wings today. I'm just going to put this out there. I am a casual when it comes to hockey, and I don't know what's worse, somebody pretending to know about hockey and talk about hockey, or somebody just not talking about hockey. I like what I'm seeing with the Red Wings. They're winning some games, but I do not know enough about that organization and how it's being built right now to be like, hey, this is what the Red Wings should do. I listen to D-Mac. That's what I do. He says Yzerman's doing a good job. I think Yzerman's doing a good job. The one thing I do know about hockey, get yourself a good goalie. And that's all that really matters. I've seen great teams taken down by good goalies. We've seen it as Red Wings fans in playoffs. John Sebastian Jaguar coming out of nowhere, shutting down a Presidential Cup team. Get a goalie. And that's my hockey speech.
And I'm glad you brought that up. It seems like the Red Wings might have found a goalie. Villa Husso was injured this year, and they got Reimer in there. Reimer shut out the Calgary Flames, 38 saves and 05. It was a shutout. So maybe they did find their goalie. Maybe
that'd be nice.
See, we know a little bit now. I do remember that. I was watching.
Listen, I love Red Wings hockey. When they're good, right? And that's how I always quantify. People are like, what's your favorite sport? What's your favorite sport? And this is how I always quantify it to people. I will watch any NFL football game, anytime, anywhere, no matter when you put it on and what teams are playing. I will watch an NFL football game. NBA games.
Playoffs.
I will watch all Piston games in playoffs.
Okay.
Baseball. I'm only watching Tigers game, little bit of outside playoffs at Tigers game. Hockey, I'm only watching playoffs, really. And that's how I know that hockey is my least favorite sport of the four. But I'm not saying I don't like hockey. So I'm like, oh, you don't know hockey. I understand the rules. I watched them when they won championships. But at the same time, it's football, baby.
Crazy thing about it is the NHL typically has the best playoffs every year. I mean, you look at the last 4 or 5 years, I would say NHL has won the last 4 or 5 years.
Playoff hockey's amazing.
It's by far the best. Yeah,
it's such a different game than regular season. It's so weird.
Every series goes 7 games, it seems. Every game is intense. Like, no matter if it's 5-1, the game's still intense.
It's the one game you can't look away, right? Yeah. Like, when playoff hockey comes, every possession's important. Every goal is insurmountable. It turns into a much more exciting game. And I think Brett Hall said it when he's here. He's like, listen, in a regular season, I'm maybe giving it 60%. Like, he's not going all in the regular season, but once it comes playoff time, Brett Hall's a dog.
100%. It's like basketball players. I mean, I used to hang out with these guys in the regular season. Like, you know, they're coming out and they're coming in town. We're partying when I was in New York, Cleveland, San Fran, Seattle. Like, they're partying like hard, and you're like, don't you have a game tomorrow? Like, those guys, they taper it down. They don't play till 8. Right. They know the teams when they're going to play, when they're not. But when they get in the playoffs, that's where you see the biggest discrepancy between the elite and teams like the Knicks, where you get Julius Randle averaging 28 in the season. Right. But once he plays against teams that are really ramping up in the season, like Julius Randle, he can't do the same thing. Yeah. Because they don't have that last gear to get to. Meanwhile, guys like Steph, Joel Embiid, Jokic, who always plays a million miles an hour anyway, those guys, they got that last step.
Yeah, and I mean that's why football's so great. They only play 17 games, right? So if you extrapolate that to baseball, that's 10 games, right?
Yeah.
10 games in baseball equals 1 game of football, and that's why it's so intense every week.
Yeah,
that's why I love football.
Yeah, it's like each loss though. That's the only thing I wish I would have played a different sport. Is you can lose in the other 3 sports, and it's like, you be all right. You'll figure it out. You lose in football, it's like, sheesh.
Literally, you lose in football, it's like going on a 10-game losing streak in baseball.
Like college was the worst. Like you lose early in college, like back in the day with the BCS. Man, like we lost to my first 2 years really didn't matter, but my junior year, like we lost to Oregon. Game 3, like out there in Oregon, it was like we're crying. We're like,
season's a wrap.
Like a national championship type team, but you lose that early. It's like lost to Notre Dame my senior year, lost to them like game 2.
So do you like the new college football playoffs where they're putting all these teams in it to where you can trip up maybe 1 or 2 games early in the season, but next thing you know, you're the 12th team in and you're doing some damage because you built up over the years?
So I argue Ryan and Maz in this from tooth and nail in the last 4 years, just telling them like, look, no, the reason why I didn't like it is because you're allowing a team essentially that has no business being in there, and all it takes is a player on the right team to get hurt. Now you squeak by because they didn't have their quarterback,
right.
Or you look at what's the name this year. Look at Florida State. Look at if you play Florida State. And now you're playing Florida State. You're going to be Florida State because they didn't have their first, second, or third quarterback. So I don't like it from that standpoint. But I think the playing field's kind of leveled out to where it'd be slightly more enjoyable than it would have been 2-3 years ago. I think it'd be more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And no matter what, there's always going to be someone bitching. Now the 13th team's going to be like, I had the same record and a better strength of schedule. They're going to be like, you're the 13th team. Shut
now we got March Madness.
Can I throw one quick thing out there? Because a lot of people in the chat were asking about it. Dale Earnhardt's anniversary of his death. That's all.
Probably one of the most tragic sports deaths of all time. The final turn of your final race.
Yeah.
That, like, sports has a way of being poetic in good ways and bad.
That one's not good.
That was not good, but just the context of it. It wasn't like the first lap. It was the very last lap. It wasn't even the first turn. It was the very last turn of your very last lap that you already knew. Like, it's so like written, like scripted. It's unreal.
Yeah, it took me a long time to start watching NASCAR. It took me a long time to start watching Indy 500 and those things, but that was definitely one of the first household names as individuals that don't watch was Dale Earnhardt Jr. So.
Yeah, the Intimidator.
100%, man.
No, that's one of my biggest regrets in life is my dad was a huge NASCAR guy.
And you didn't get into it?
I never got into it. And now I would give anything, now that he's passed away, I'd give anything to go watch a NASCAR guys make left turns for 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be so fun.
So it's not too late.
So yeah, let that be a lesson to you. If your dad's into something you don't think it's that cool, just enjoy it with him because it's something he enjoys.
At the end of the day, everything isn't about you. 100%. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. See you again tomorrow. Stick. Get us out of here, man.
Yeah, we are out of here. Do you guys got a special goodbye or anything?
No.
Pete, send us off.
No. Bye. We'll see you. Turn the show off.
I love Braylon. I love Stick, and I love Kool-Aid. God bless all you guys in the chat and our audience. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Heavyweights up next.